What's going on? What's going on? Happy Sunday. Welcome back to the Lapeef Network, Lapeef Sports on Sunday morning. We got our guy Hink. Hink, good morning to you. We got Avon D's.
What's going on?
How y'all doing?
Good morning, good people.
No.
I'm good, man. Good to be
we're
back.
here.
Good
We're
to
here.
be back. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, man. Avon, we missed you these last couple of weeks, man. We're glad to have you back.
Yeah, man. It's just a lot of moving around, a lot of business to take care of, man. I was in Memphis last week, and I like that place, although I don't understand why they got tires, old tires on every corner. What is that about, bro?
They just got tires laying around just for no reason.
So it's a big dumping problem that they have in Memphis. I guess, that's just the way they do it. Instead of going to the dumpster, you just dump your bedroom set on the corner with some tires. It's just the way they roll.
I was gonna say, ain't the Nashville arena named Firestone Tires?
I don't know.
I think they are. I think what the Thrashers. I think that's what they call the Nashville.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Maybe
Memphis though. That was in Memphis.
Maybe they drop them off in Memphis. All the old tires they drop off in Memphis. Feel like it's a dumping ground.
Man, well, I appreciate y'all coming in. Shout out to JR. He is traveling today, so he won't be on. But we still got a great show. I wanted to also send a shout out to Lapeef Network, across the whole network. Everybody's been working really hard, so I just wanted to definitely salute everybody across all the panels. Also, shout out to the sponsor, Teach Henley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Its sole mission is to help guys look and feel amazing by providing a simplified care system. So definitely check that out. I think that they've been really making some great waves. I might have to, as a person who's always explored with a bunch of different facial washes, I definitely might check it out. So shout out to Teach Henley. And yeah, guys, we want to get right into it. Last night was the first defending fight for Francis Ngannou, and he pretty much, I would say, dominated, even though he, I believe, won by unanimous decision. And the biggest thing I took out of that, not necessarily that he won, but that it's one of his last contracts with the UFC, and he's waiting on a renewal. And the renewal's biggest caveat is that he wants to be able to have boxing options. He wants to be able to go and have whatever kind of boxing match with whoever it is. And that's really kept him from re-signing his contract with UFC. I think that's nearly the single issue. So I just wanted to, get y'all thoughts on, him as a fighter. He's also kind of a social media star. I think of, I want to say a couple of days ago or maybe a couple of weeks ago, he had just random people punching him in the stomach and in the chest and stuff like that, just to show how strong he is. Like, come punch him in the face. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's definitely a beast, and he's doing a lot for the sport. But him wanting them boxing options. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
To me, I don't think it'd be a bad idea. I mean, he's a hell of a puncher. Now, he's if I was him, I'd take a couple years off to get myself ready for that. And get my mind right, my physical stamina up for it, because I watched his fight this morning, and he looked like he was winded after that first round. I don't know if y'all guys got to see it or not, but he looked real winded after the first round, and so it was rough. So I couldn't imagine him say, after the end of this month, he say, "Hey, I'm gonna go start boxing, train for about 3 months, and get back into it." I couldn't see him doing that. I think it's going to take a little more time, but hey, he's got the punching power, I think, to be a good heavyweight boxer. We'll see.
Look, man, I watched the highlights this morning, and what I kind of noticed is that when he's punching to set up to wrestle, I don't know if you guys noticed that in the fight, that the punch is the lead in to him shooting. You know what I mean? So it seems like that's not his preferred way to conduct himself in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like he's a wrestler. Is he a wrestler by trade, Kyle? Did he start off wrestling?
I think he did start off wrestling. I think he's kind of I find his style to be kind of all over the place. He just kind of overwhelms you, you know what I mean, with just brute force. But yeah. I think he is a wrestler, Richard.
Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is that I understand that in the culture we're in right now, the sports environment we're in right now, the Jake Paul world we live in right now, everybody wants to be a boxer. But if your instincts, your natural instincts is to wrestle first and then strike second, I wonder about your viability, in the short term and the long term jumping into the boxing game, because these are people whose natural instincts is these hands. You know what I'm saying? And it works with fighters. I'm a Taekwondo guy, so my first instinct is to kick. You know what I mean? When I'm when I've had combat situations or whatever. So I wonder about these guys, because same thing happened with your boy when he fought Mayweather. Everybody in the UFC seems to think that they got hands until they have to deal with people whose job it is to have hands, and I worry about that with these guys.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like the boxing issue is something that he is determined to do. It's not necessarily like something that is like a rumor or anything like that, or like something that, he wants to just be able to have that option if it ever gets there. No, he has kind of made it clear that he has to go also be a boxer. And I think it is because of the Jake Paul effect. I mean, for one, the money is there, obviously. And the disparity between the money and the MMA versus boxing, which is kind of weird, but I don't know why it's so drastically different. Just, you figure you're paying two people to fight, and the pay-per-view buys and the arena buys, you would imagine would be the same if it's the right billing. So I don't know what it is about boxing. Maybe just people don't like getting kicked and thrown to the ground and put in a submission move or something like that in MMA, but he's definitely determined, and he even threatened to sit out if the UFC doesn't, because he's technically under contract because he's the current champion. So it's not like he could just, say I'm not fighting, but he has threatened to sit out all of, I imagine, this year, 2022, if the UFC can't get some ironed out, which allows him to go elsewhere.
So that last fight that they just had last night, that was he officially did what his contract was asking for him, right? I mean, I heard him Joe Rogan kind of mention that, but didn't really understand all the details he was talking about. Was this his last fight because he wanted to go into boxing, or was that his last fight because he fulfilled his contract obligations? I didn't know, but man, I like I said, I could see him get into the boxing thing. Like Abe said, man, it's going to take a little minute, especially mentally, to get yourself out of that rim. Okay, maybe I want to throw a knee, maybe I want to slam him, maybe I want to snatch him up and throw a couple of, shot to the back of his head, because they allow them to do all of that. I mean, in boxing, of course, you can't do that, but hey, in MMA, it's all for a game. So, I think just more the mental part of the game is really going to have to, it's going to probably be as big an obstacle for real. Also, as well, like I said, his cardio. I mean, he just looked real winded after that first round. Now, I don't know if that's because they said he had a knee injury. He wasn't able to go as hard as he normally does in training. Maybe that was the reason why he looked so winded. He normally doesn't go 5 rounds, doesn't go down to decision. I think they even said he never won a decision. Of course, a lot of his matches don't go into the decision because he's knocking cats out.
Right.
So I don't know. It could be a variance of all of those things, but hey, I like to see him in a boxing ring. But like you said, it could be one of those situations where he can go in the rim of Jake Paul, where they pick certain fighters he's gonna fight and not try to do the real round tree of heavyweights. Like he's not gonna try to fight a Wild or Anthony Joseph or Tyson Fury, nothing like that. But just these lower level boxers, you know what I'm saying? One who doesn't have all the cachet as some of the other ones.
Man, could you imagine an Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou boxing match? I mean, I might tune in for that.
That sounds like old school. Did you ever watch K1? That sounds like some K1 stuff right there. What was the dude, Alistair Overeem, man? Like, dude was so
Alistair Overeem, yeah.
He couldn't even stick his arm all the way out to jab, Like,
he puked. He's one of. I think he puked right after one of his fights. I think he's the same dude. So,
Here's what I don't understand about this whole thing, right? And it hit me when we had the Mayweather. What's your boy? The white guy from MMA. McGregor. So when we had the McGregor Mayweather thing happen, and if the rumors started coming out, and my first initial question was, well, why is he signing on to this? And then we understood there were about 8 figures why he signed on to a McGregor. You know what I'm saying? But this always seems like a losing situation for the MMA guys, man, because you basically taking away half your arsenal to go fight somebody whose whole arsenal is based on just the top half of their body or whatever. And my thing is this, right? When are MMA guys going to start having the what's the word I want to use, the pull to be able to tell the boxers, now bring your ass in this octagon? If you think you as bad as you are, you won't think you are here in this press conference telling people I'm the baddest this, I'm the toughest that. Bring your ass in this octagon. Take them boxing shoes off real quick. Let's see what you're really about. And I would be more inclined to watch that than the other. But it seems like the boxing guys are always able to leverage the advantage to their side, or whatever. And I would be much more excited to see. I would love to see Mayweather running around in the octagon, bro. That would have been gold. But
man, Mayweather would have got in there and got kicked, twisted up, elbow. Been a horrible situation. That's probably why they don't do it. You know what I mean? As hard as sweet a science as boxing is, you know, MMA looks like, you know, there's a certain brutality to it that boxing really isn't. You know what I mean? It's the art of hitting without getting hit, whereas MMA is just like overpowering your opponent in all these different ways. So that's probably why, you know, I think Floyd Mayweather did say that he kind of has like a little deal with Dana White in regards to, you know, bringing boxing and MMA together, but that's probably going to be more boxing related versus MMA related. So I guess it remains to be seen on that.
Well, I'm sorry. Hey, I think since boxing been around for so long, the longevity of it, that's probably going to be the reason why we probably won't see that for a while, because the history of boxing, the longevity of it. You know, MMA is evolved in so many different fashions, man. Like I said, I remember they was doing MMA and they was fully dressed in gis and stuff. you know, one guy got a gi on, the other guy didn't have a shirt on at all. Yeah. So I'm like, how does this work? One guy that got a gi on, the other one don't. And in some of those situations, they didn't have a weight class. I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing here? So you got a middleweight going against like a light heavyweight, and you thinking, oh, it's light heavyweight about to kill him. Shit, this middleweight's whooping his ass. I mean, but you just don't know. So it's come a long way. And of course, they had to do a lot of sanctions and changes with it. I mean, I remember there was a time where certain states wouldn't allow it, you know, and I don't know who, some of the last states was what, New York, I think. They was just so gun-ho against it because it was just too brutal. You know what I'm saying? Kentucky was one of those states as well, too. But, you know, they finally gave in. They realized, hey, this draws a crowd. There's money in this. Why not? You know, so I think it's going to take a little bit more time. It probably won't be in none of our lifetimes that it'll happen where you'll see a boxer come over to the octagon. But like you said, I think it'd be very interesting. See how they handle that.
Yeah. Hey, you all ever seen the old Van Damme movie Bloodsport?
Yeah, where he fought
he fought Bolo Young. He was the last. Bolo was the main guy. You know what I'm saying? He's puffing the chest. You know what I'm saying? But that's what the old original UFC days remind me of, man. You got a dude over here doing Taekwondo. You got a dude over here who do bar fights. You got a dude doing Wing Chun. Like, it was just wild hunts. Like, you could do whatever style you wanted, man. And now I think that's the beauty and the tragedy in MMA, is that the tragedy of it was we got away from comparing different fighting styles to see how they existed inside the cage, because everybody started fighting the same way. Everybody started using jiu-jitsu. Everybody basically fell into the same fighting style. But that's actually the beauty of it, because I guess we got our answer. You know what I mean? It was like jiu-jitsu and moderate striking would have mixed in with the wrestling was the best way to go about to win in the ring or whatever. So it's like, I miss the old, but I guess this is what it really needed to evolve into.
Well, speaking of evolution, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans yesterday. You know what I mean? Let's get into it in terms of the NFL playoffs. I think it was a really great Saturday for just the entire league. You know what I mean? It's great to see Joe Burrow come along and really lead a team to a playoff win. And then, as tough as it was to see Aaron Rodgers kind of go out looking salty on a snowy day, the 49ers defense is legit. Jimmy Garoppolo deserves some credit for, even though he did turn the ball over and, did everything he could to, not give them a chance to win, he still got the job done. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the Bengals? What does this mean for the Titans? It was Derrick Henry's first game back after, I think, like an 8 or 9 game layoff. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, man, go ahead, Hank. Go ahead.
Okay. I had no problem with Derrick Henry coming back, man. I thought that was about the right time. He probably should. To me, really, he probably should have came back the last maybe game of the season for the Titans. At least get his feet wet, get himself back under him. It was kind of hard to see him run out there after, like say, 8 weeks, and also the first game is a big playoff game. So I mean, but he didn't do too bad. I mean, I don't know what you really expect from, like you said, first game back at the 8-week layoff. I mean, I didn't think he did too bad. My issue is, man, Tennessee's defense played, man, tremendous. They played a hell of a game. They sacked this man 9 times. How do you get 9 sacks and you not win that game? You held them. I mean, they couldn't score. They had to kick field goals. It was a field goal game. I mean, you did everything you needed to do, but you couldn't win. I just don't understand, man. I don't have no. If I was a Titan fan, I'd be looking for a quarterback. I don't really think they trust and believe in Tannehill. I mean, you could just tell the way that the game was being called, the way it's played. I mean, the guy, a simple pass, and he got an interception. And I think it was the second interception of the game. The other one, damn, they got returned for a touchdown. So, I mean, if I was a Titan fan, I'd be done with him. I mean, he did some good things here and there, but that playoff, no, he just, the moment's too big for him. The moment's too big for him.
And I think they believe in Tannehill out there, though. They kind of call him a steal, or like a diamond in the rough type of quarterback. So, I don't know. I mean, he dropped that one little dime in there for that Brown touchdown, which was an incredible catch. I don't think they're giving that catch enough love that it deserves. But Avon, what do you think?
Look, he said, how do you lose a game? When you give up, you sack the quarterback 9 times. When your quarterback throw the ball to the other team 3 times. That's how that works. Here's what's going to happen instinctively. What's going to happen with us and the Titans, right? And especially in Tennessee, because we obviously, football fans are emotional. They're going to be banging the table for Russ. They're going to be banging the table for Aaron Rodgers. I got news for the people of Tennessee. They're not coming there, bro. They're not coming there. And I think what happens in the league, unfortunately, is that unless you have one of those top 3, top 5 quarterbacks, you always want more. You always want something and everybody can't have that top 5 quarterback, man. You can't. And I think the Titans know that. That's why you have a Derrick Henry back there. That's why you have all that money invested in your offensive line, because you know the quarterback that you have in front of you is not going to win it with his arm. All Tannehill had to do yesterday was not get a ball to the other team. The defense was balling out, run the ball. You saw it all weekend. The way to win the game in these elements was to run the ball. And you get sacked 9 times because, I looked at the stats. Burrow threw for 350 yards, man. And wasn't the weather bad, if I remember correctly? Weren't they snowing at one point in that game? So you can have the quarterback throw 350 yards, but if he's going to give it to the other team 3 times, you just don't have a shot. And that's tough too. As a defensive player, you got to go home knowing you got to the quarterback 9 times and you still got to go home. That, Lord have mercy. But
let me ask you this though, Avon. You think that Tennessee isn't a good destination for a quarterback? I mean, they got one of the best running backs in the game. They got a pretty solid receiver core. I mean, they do got Julio. I forgot he was out there, but they do have Julio. And their offensive line could be better. You know what I mean? Some of that is happy feet on Tannehill, and some of that is on the line. So you think a more experienced quarterback like a Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, they might make the difference. You know what I mean? Or, maybe not. What do you think on that?
I think the guy who would make the most sense would be actually Deshaun Watson. Now you get him up there with that offensive line, that running game. That man threw 5,000 yards behind a garbage line down there in Texas. So that's the guy. If I was the Titans, I would be trying to get if I needed to make a move. But I think you have to understand the two guys that everybody's talking about that are available, Aaron Rodgers and Russ. They're making those moves for other reasons than football. You know what I mean? Like Russ, does have something to do with the football, but think about it. He's got to move his social media star wife and his, very visible family to a large, media market. I think that's more motivating than it is the football. And with Aaron Rodgers, I think it's the same thing, just because the vast majority of people that identify with him tend to be rural, suburban people, kind of like the people up in Green Bay. But I think he's looking for a bigger platform as well, aside from trying to get out of Green Bay. So I think the guy who would make, like I said, the guy who would make the most sense would be Deshaun Watson. But what are you going to do to get him? Everybody always wants to go get these guys, but what do you have to go get them? The Bears in the offseason made a run at Russ. If I remember correctly, the package was, I think it was Nick Foles and 3 first-round picks, and Seattle told them no. So if you can't run 3 picks at the Seahawks, you can't run no assets at the Seahawks, you can't get them anyway. So I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things where you get to the end of the year, you want to know, why did we lose? Why did this happen? And it always comes back to the quarterbacks when at the end that you can't go get another one a lot of the time. What you going to do? There's not one in the draft. You're not going to draft up high enough to go get one. You're going to give up draft capital for Russ, and he don't even want to be there. It don't seem like it'll work, man.
I mean, I don't. With the Watson thing, only way I think the Titans gonna get Watson if you should cut him, because they in the same division, and I doubt you want to help your division opponent to get better, extremely better. Matter of fact, possible Super Bowl bound better, because I think Watson's that type of quarterback. But to me, you just can't take a chance on him right now, man. He's got this bullshit hanging over his head. You just can't. I mean, you have to sell the farm just to get him. And then what if he don't get to play? You know what I'm saying? What if he does get, end up in a situation where he's out for a whole season, due to these legal ramifications that he's got hanging over his head, man. So I don't know. Right now, I wouldn't even touch Watson. So he wouldn't even be an option to me. But I look at it like this: every quarterback's available for the right price. Every quarterback is available for the right price. There's not a quarterback out there that can't be touched for the right price. So with this Russell Wilson, I would take Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's dead weight now. He's done. His time has come and gone. To me, I don't know if they want to, maybe kick the tires and see what Derek Carr's looking like. I mean, the guy's still young. The guy's not bad. I think he's a little bit better than Tannehill. A little bit better decision maker than Tannehill. I would look in that situation. I think he's going to be a free agent. I think the Raiders are done with him. I don't know why. I mean, the man's got a lot of potential. I mean, he got y'all to the playoffs, especially with all the drama that he had to deal with. I mean, that's not easy. So I would kick the tires on him. See what that's looking like. As far as anybody else, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to take a chance on Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers may not, like you said, he may not even come here. He may end up with the Raiders because they let Derek Carr go, or they're done with Derek Carr. That may happen, especially if the Raiders get Jim Harbaugh as a coach. I wouldn't be surprised if they go down. So we'll see. I mean, and I don't know. Will the San Francisco 49ers still keep Jimmy Garoppolo after this season? They got that young Trey Lance, man. And, that you don't want to have your first round draft pick sitting on your bench too long because, nowadays, man, if you don't play within your first 2 years, you may be considered a bust. So who knows, man? It definitely going to be interesting to see how it all pans out this offseason, man.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati, their arrows pointing up. You know, Joe Burrow seems to be the savior that the city's been waiting on for the longest. You know, they're definitely trying to shed their label of being underdogs and lovable losers and whatnot. Andy Dalton did get them to some divisional, you know, championships and some playoff games, but they haven't won a playoff game since, you know, in my lifetime, I'll say. So, and they have a really legit team, you know what I mean, all the way around. So I was kind of rooting for them, to be honest with you. You know, just because I like what their team has going. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase got to be one of the best quarterback receiver tandems in the league right now, right up there with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and whatnot. So, you know, I was really happy to see them win. It was kind of a ugly field goal game, but to be sacked that many times and still be able to keep your composure and not allow that kind of stuff to break you the way it would have, you know, the Jay Cutler Chicago Bears once upon a time. You know, I think I was just really impressed with. So, you know, what do you guys think on the Bengals and what they're looking like? I mean, they're going to have to, you know, they're going to an AFC Championship game. 2 years ago, they had the worst record in the league. So, you know, what do you guys think?
Hey, I remember they laughed at that. I think the coach name is Zach Smith. I think that's his name. They laughed at that guy. They thought it was a joke when they hired him. But it ain't no fun when a rabbit got the good, baby. Man, he's looking back at him like, y'all kiss my ass. I'm in the AFC Championship game. Y'all questioned me when we picked Joe Burrow. Thought we should have picked offensive lineman for Andy Dalton. Y'all questioned us last year when we took a wide receiver, and y'all felt like we should have got somebody on defense. Hey, everything he's doing right now looking real good, So I mean, I was, like you said, I was rooting for him too, because Cincinnati's right up the street from where I'm at in Louisville, Kentucky. So we got a lot of Cincinnati Bengals fans, a lot of Titan fans down this way too. But you know, I was kind of rooting for him myself, you know, from a distance. But what, like you said about Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow's tough, man. I like Joe Burrow when I seen him at LSU. I like him since he's been in the NFL. He's showing, you know, hey, he can do that thing. And like you said, Chase, hey, man, as long as he can catch that ball, man, he can get that ball in his hands. He's gonna do some damage. He's gonna kill some DBs. He's gonna hurt some hearts. I'm telling you, man, like you said, that's a hell of a tandem they got going right there.
And every time he gets the ball, I'm always waiting on him to like get smashed, and it never comes. He's always running around people, dodging tackles. I'm always waiting on the big hit, and he just always seems to not only avoid it, but you know, take that joint 20 extra yards. So, you know, if them both can stay healthy, and Joe Mixon, if they can all stay healthy, I mean, that team is to be reckoned with for sure.
Definitely, man. And, you know, I'm happy for your man Jamar Chase, because he did not start this season well at all. You remember he couldn't catch? Remember trying to catch? He couldn't catch the ball.
That's what I'm talking about.
The story, what was it in training camp? He said he couldn't catch the ball because the ball didn't have a white stripes on it, so he couldn't track it. I'm like, don't say that out loud no more. No, don't do that.
Hey, but they burnt his ass up in the preseason, man. Talk about, man, is he a bust already? I'm like, damn, dude, the season ain't started. They call him man a bust.
Yeah. Like but at the time when it was happening, he was like, oh, they done drafted a whole clown out here. This is definitely Bengals material right here. But you know, to see where he's at right now, that's the beautiful thing about football and sports in general, is you get to see the progression. You know, the Bengals 2 years ago were the Bungles. They were exactly what we thought they were. But when you put competent management, competent coaching, and talented players in place, these things tend to happen. I wish my people up here in Chicago would be over here taking notes to see how this plays out. You get yourself a good young quarterback, you get them some weapons, you get them an offensive line, you get them a coach that's on planet Earth, and the GM who might know what he's doing. I hope that the folks up in Hallis Hall up in here in Chicago are watching. This is what modern NFL football looks like. A young quarterback, a lot of exciting weapons, and a competent head coach. Please pay attention to this, Chicago Bears. Please.
Yeah, man. Plus, he's really handled it really well. You know, it doesn't really seem like the moment and the limelight is too much for him, probably because he's just coming off of a, you know, national championship run at LSU. So, you know, he's kind of used to it. So the Bengals really came up there because in addition to that, it's hard to find a Jamar Chase, you know, in terms of just the talent. Yeah, I'm thinking of, again, we're all kind of Bears fans. The Bears don't really have a guy who they can throw the ball to, and that person just go out there and make a play. Even like the Deebo Samuels with San Francisco, sometimes they just throw him, they just give him the ball, and then they just hope he make a play for him. And so when you have them kind of guys on your team, it helps everyone else. And so when you got a guy like Jamar Chase on your team, you could just kind of throw it up, and he just come down with it. It helps Joe Burrow build his confidence. It keeps him, able to kind of manage the rest of the team, really well. So, and that way, when they get those sacks, it really doesn't affect them that much because they can always just, you got Jamar Chase down there somewhere. You can always just throw it up to him. So it's, that team's coming together really nicely. And I think they play the winner of the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, I want to say.
Yeah, so, that game goes on today at, I think, about 3:00. But the good thing about it is, man, like I said, they wasn't. Well, some of the fans was crying about. They wanted that swell guy from used to play at Oregon at offensive tackle.
Yeah, the tackle.
Yeah, they wanted him, but I think Detroit ended up getting him. But they passed on him. But they was like, man, they felt like they needed more receivers. To me, Cincinnati got a good crop of receivers already. I like Higgins too. I think he's a good receiver. So I like the tight end. I can't pronounce the guy's name, so I won't screw my man's name up. I think he's a hell of a tight end. Mixon, well, he seemed like he's emotionally unstable at times, but he has his moments. But he's still, I think, a pretty decent running back. So I mean, they got some weapons there. I like to see them block to their defense a little bit more, and I think if they work on their defense, man, probably take it to the next level. Who knows? They could be maybe in the Super Bowl in a couple years from now. Who knows? But we got to also remember, Burrows is coming off an ACL tear, man. He had a knee injury last year, so this is coming off a injury like that, man. Man, he's having a hell of a season. I mean, I like him. I really do. I wish we had him in Chicago. I ain't gonna lie. That would have been nice, but we got Justin Fields. We're gonna do what we can with him. We just need to get him a good coach, and like you said, find us a good GM and just go from there, man. Build from there, man. So we'll see.
Well, the Bengals have shown that a turnaround can be done in a pretty short period of time with the right pieces. San Francisco has shown the same thing. When you get a good coach, a GM who knows what they're doing, and I guess a relatively reliable, quarterback, you can get some W's. And they pulled out a win yesterday against Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers had to take that long, slow walk back through the tunnel, and real sad. I was kind of happy to see that. You know what I mean? So that's one for us, I guess. So what do you guys think on that? I feel like 9 times out of 10, let's say 8 times out of 10, Green Bay is going to beat San Francisco. But, it was just kind of their day yesterday. It was an ugly game. All that snow, I imagine, just is got to be tough to plan for everybody. What do you guys think? Avon, what were you thinking on Aaron Rodgers?
Man, look, I love this. It probably, a lot of people, it did not register to. My favorite play of that game yesterday was that toss play when they had that lineman pull from the left side and run right and clean Rashawn Gary up. Man, that's Lord, that, like, for us that grew up in the 80s and still remember violent football, Lord, that got me right here. And it couldn't have happened to a better team and a better person, man. To see that, like, man, I just got out my seat, man. But again, this is another situation where my home team needs to be paying attention. Physical football still exists in the NFL. And I don't care if it's snowing, lightning, raining, earthquaking. If you can line up 6 guys who can move the 5 in front of them, you can win football games. And that's what happened here. And it was a physical game. The Packers didn't lay down for them, But this idea that I still think you need an offensive, you still have to have an offensive-minded football team. But, man, the 49ers went up there. They thought they was, it's cold up here. These boys from the West, man, they went up there and roughed them up. And then, Lord have mercy, what are they doing on special teams up there? That is so weird because the Packers are known to be what I guess you would call a mistake-free football organization. If anything, they're going to be competent. That's what they've been for the last 20 years, man. And that yesterday, that looked like incompetence, man. And the thing is, at the end of the day, to see Aaron Rodgers have to walk off that field looking goofy, I didn't want his movie to end any other way. Like I knew I'd be asking too much for it to end the way it did for Favre. Thank you, Phil Luger, for ending Favre. He will always have a special place in my heart. But to see Aaron Rodgers have to walk off in that snow, looking goofy, looking like a homeless man, confused homeless man in the wind, that Lord have mercy, that felt good. And that's going to be my Super Bowl for this year, because I'm sure not getting one. But it's over for the Packers. It is. It's legit over. And as a Bears fan, it gives you hope that the Bears can be more they're incompetent. They can get out their way for this. You know what I'm saying? Get out your own way, because the door just swung right open.
Yeah, and it's off a Robbie Gould field goal too. So I was feeling that. So, and I think if they move, I feel like it's not clear if the Packers are gonna give Jordan Love the keys. I don't know how that's gonna go. I feel like they should. You would imagine he's been there 3 or 4 seasons now. So if they haven't coached him up, then that's got to be a huge red flag just to everyone. In terms of what the Packers are doing. Just like in Pittsburgh, in terms of what they're doing when Ben Roethlisberger leaves, what's the Packers' plan for life after Aaron Rodgers? And if it's Jordan Love, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the Jordan Love, Justin Fields parallel plays out as the years go on, because one of them's got to give. So hopefully, again, them Bears are paying attention. And but Avon, what do you think in terms of San Francisco? You think, did they win it yesterday, or did the Packers lose it?
Oh, they won it. They won it. Now, I was concerned because what I saw yesterday, and this is what's going to hurt the 49ers down the road, is I understand it's the elements. But there are sometimes, because you remember the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they had Chiefs down, and they was running through them, and they stopped letting Garoppolo throw the ball. You can't do that to a quarterback, man. I don't care how much it's snowing. You got to keep your quarterback in rhythm, man. Like, I'm trying to pull up the stats right now, but I swear to God, I don't think I saw him throw 4 passes in the second half or some craziness like that. And I get it. The interception he threw on that out route into the end zone, man, like, I get it. He tends to do that sometimes. But all quarterbacks, everybody is not going to be perfect like Tom Brady, where you throw the ball 40 times they're going to catch it. Man, sometimes guys throw picks. That's part of the game. But what concerns me about the 49ers is that, yes, run that ball, be physical, move the ball up the field, move the chains. But in the modern NFL, your quarterback has to threaten the defense. And I feel like when they have success, they get comfortable with not letting Garoppolo let the ball go sometimes. And that's what doomed them to the Super Bowl. And if they run into them Rams, it's going to doom them too.
All right, man, look here. I'm like Robbie Gould, man. Fuck the Packers. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Fuck the whole city, the state. The hell with them. I was glad to see him take a walking strain, man. Excuse my language on a good Sunday. Hey guys, the line is open, so y'all can always call in.
Yes, sir.
And please express your opinions and debate with us and talk with us. And hey, come on up and enjoy. Cam up though. You have to cam up, guys. So, but man. Look here, man. I can't stand the Green Bay Packers. So anytime they lose, I enjoy every minute of it, man. I don't give a damn. Minnesota could beat them. Detroit, anybody could beat them. As long as they lose. And for them to lose the way they did, I enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed it. To the Garoppolo again, dude, Garoppolo's trash. But for some reason, this dude finds a way to win against the Green Bay Packers, and I love it. So, man, with that game, man, I'm trying to figure out what happened to Green Bay. I mean, when the game came on, I'm thinking, man, they're going down the field just like it was nobody business on that first drive. After that, 49ers tightened up, said, hey, it stops here. Wasn't none of that going on. So their defense clamped down. I mean, they did what they had to do. But I'm really surprised the way Green Bay responded in the second half. They looked like, I don't know what they was thinking about. They felt like they had the game in hand. They felt like they was coming up. Okay, we gonna worry about this. Then they had to sit around punt. Didn't get their punt block. Like, dude, what are they doing? They playing like they got all the time more. Y'all about to lose this game because y'all letting these guys stay in it close enough. Y'all didn't put no distance between them. So that's what ended up happening. They ended up losing because they couldn't take care of the business. I don't know, man. But as far as Jordan Love being the quarterback of the future for them, I hope so. I hope so because we're gonna tear his ass up. We need to get that win streak going for Green Bay, man. Hey, maybe get us about 3 or 4 years of good winning, sweeping them.
What about Aaron Rodgers? What do we think the future is for Aaron?
Man, I think he's gone, man. I really do. I think he's gone. I think he's done. You know, he felt disrespected. He's been feeling that way, I guess, ever since they drafted Jordan Love. And I don't see him staying. I'll be surprised, but they're gonna have to do something first of all, because they over $44 million over the salary cap, and that's even before they re-signed Devontae Adams. And I don't see Devontae Adams may not come back. So the Bears, I start prodding. I put some feelers out there. Talk to his agent. We need a good receiver, especially if Allen Robinson is gone. Y'all not gonna resign him back.
We don't want him back.
Why not?
I don't need him. We got him.
Hey, weaken your rival, strengthen your team. That's what I'm all about.
Look, I just looked at the stats from the game, and I thought yesterday when I was watching the game, I thought I was, imagining things. I was not imagining things. How do you go into an NFL playoff game in the snow and run the ball 18 times, bro? How do you do that? That's I don't even know.
I agree. In the snow, they asked Aaron Rodgers kind of to do way too much, especially, he's not necessarily evading some of these sacks like he used to either. So they really should have ran the ball way more. And I was surprised he didn't do that. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is up there, maybe making audibles or whatever, or, who knows what's going on in his head. But I was really surprised at that too, Ava. So, I agree. But with that, that's kind of bringing us to today's games. So we got 2 more big games today, Rams and Buccaneers, and the Bills versus the Chiefs. Now, my first inclination is to take the Rams. Similar to how I was looking for the Bengals to win, and I was really rooting for them. I'm rooting for the Rams only because I like their roster. I like Aaron Donald. I like Jalen Ramsey. I like Matt Stafford, really. I feel like him being in Detroit, wasted a lot of his, some of his best years. So I'm really rooting for the Rams, but it's hard to bet against, that guy named Tom Brady. And so, I wonder what you guys think. Is it going to be a close game? Is this kind of a blowout waiting to happen, like a trap game for the Bucs? Or, what you guys thinking?
I think, man, it's I don't know if it's a trap game because, man, the Rams are a good team, man. Did they play them early in the year? I thought the Rams and the Bucs played early. And I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't see. It's kind of hard to say it's a trap game in the playoffs. I mean, if that's the case, then you need to look at your coach like, man, what the hell, trap game? Why aren't we prepared? Why aren't we, ready to play? It's the playoffs, and especially with Tom Brady's coach, he's not going to let y'all slip. He's not going to let y'all use that excuse for it was a trap game. We didn't, no, ain't none of that going on. This is real. This is real. So I like Tampa Bay today, even though I want Tampa Bay to lose because I still, I don't know if y'all remember, they used to be one of our division rivals back in the day when it was the Central, But I think Tampa's gonna win. I don't know. I have no faith in Stafford at all, because it's playoff time, and I know we all know what happens when he does or ever get in the playoff, he loses. So that's what I see is gonna happen today.
Yeah, to answer your question, Hinka, they did play. The Rams and Bucs played earlier this year, and the Rams actually won. They won 34-24. Matt Stafford had a great game that day, so it's definitely some precedent in terms of the Bucs losing, but playoff Tom Brady is tough to bet against.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm sitting here, so everything logically wants me to pick them Rams. They got better athletes. They've got the better record. They beat them already this year. I actually think at this point, Matthew Stafford is probably more explosive as a quarterback than Tom Brady is. But with all that being said, I ain't betting a damn dime on the LA Rams today because I just can't do it. I cannot bet one single dollar against Tom Brady. It ain't in me. I will not do it. I have lost money to Tom Brady before. I'm not doing it no more. Cannot do it. I think the way the Rams do win the game, though, is that I think there's a definite talent gap between the Rams secondary and the Bucs wide receivers. They physical too, man. You get Jalen Ramsey up there playing press coverage. All of a sudden, it's them little 5-yard ends, them little slants that Tom loved running in them, 3-4 a year. That becomes a lot harder when Jalen Ramsey is sitting across from you on the other side. So, but even then, I feel like when a guy's played quarterback in the league for 37 years like Tom Brady, this ain't the first time he's been in this situation. So I think it's a close game. I think somehow Tampa Bay pulls it out, man. And they at home. Yeah, I think 3 points, a 3-point game, man. They get a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Man, I like when Tom Brady has that payback game, man. Boy, he comes with that fire in his eye, man. It ought to be a real interesting game. It really should. I mean, because right now, they only got Mike Evans as a definitely wide receiver, as a defensive threat. But man, I mean, this is the type of game that Gronk's gonna have the opportunity to get off. This type of game that Gronk's gonna really have. I think a lot of opportunity get some good stats. I mean, because who are you going to put on him? He's a walking mismatch. Even in his old age, they still really can't cover him single. You can't. I mean, are you going to put Ramsey on him? Then you're going to leave Mike Evans open. So what are you going to do? And then they're playing with these young running backs, man, with Vaughn and I don't know. Is Fournette healthy? I don't know if he's back or not, or if he's even playing because I don't remember seeing him play.
He has activated, so I think he will be out there today.
Okay, cool. So I like Vaughn. I like him running with Vaughn. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Ronald Jones. To me, they need to cut his ass. I don't even know if he's active because I know he wasn't active last week. So if not, run the ball with Fournette and Vaughn. I mean, to me, you got your lightning thunder right there. Fournette's gonna pound it. Hey, Vaughn's gonna hit that corner and he's gone. So it's gonna be real interesting, man. I can see him throwing a lot of dump short off passes. Then he's gonna draw him in. He's gonna get a long pass to Mike Evans. So Tampa Bay 28-24.
Now I just saw something that said that a lot of the linemen, the offensive linemen for Tampa Bay, are injured, man. And some just crossed my mind. Have we seen how many great NFL quarterbacks have we seen ride off into the sunset? Like healthy. You know what I mean? You know what? I'm still traumatized from Aeneas Williams knocking out Steve Young in a preseason game by 25. I don't know if anybody remembers that hit. It might be available on YouTube, but you see how Brett Favre went out. You know, like I wonder that. I mean, I don't care how many pills you take and how well you eat. 44 is 44, man. It is what it is, man. And my fear sometimes when I watch Tom Brady play is I want him to kind of go out, in the sunset, be able to walk away, smile. And we know it's the end, but I don't want it to end like the way it ends for a lot of these quarterbacks with like some 300-pound dude sitting on your head. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see it like that. And when I think about that Rams defense and a hurt offensive line, I'm like, man, I hope he don't get hurt or something happens to him, man, because it's a perfect setup for it today, bro. A perfect setup.
Well, I know the center got banged up a little bit last week, so I don't know if he was able to come back and finish out the game. I didn't pay attention to that, so I know that's a very important spot for Tom right there at that center spot. So, like I said, with your linemen all banged up, man, Tom, I hope Tom don't get them old happy feet.
Well, it's gonna be a Gronk versus Von Miller matchup probably throughout. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the entire game. I would imagine that they actually put Jalen Ramsey on Mike Evans. You know what I mean? Don't let Mike Evans be the guy that beats you. You know, you don't have Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, who I would imagine is, I think their best running back. You know, regardless of maybe whatever his image is. You know, I think he's one of their better guys. So the fact that he's still hobbled, is only going to work against them. And if they can put some pressure on Tom Brady, I mean, I think that the biggest thing, which is always obvious, I would say, is that pressuring some of these older quarterbacks is the best way to get them off their game. And so Tom Brady is, I think I saw a stat that he has like the quickest release point in terms of between, hiking the ball and getting it out of his hands. He's like second fastest in the league. So you definitely want to try to put as much pressure on him as possible. But it's going to be a linebacker, middle of the field kind of a game today. Outside of the run game, I think they're going to rely on Gronk a lot. I think they're probably going to have just Jalen shadow whatever receiver is killing that day. And then, the Bucs, they got to deal with Odell. They got to deal with Cooper Kupp. The Bucs got a whole lot to deal with on the defensive end themselves. So I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk at all. I think it will be a close game. Who knows what the score will be at this point? It's hard to put a score on it, but I would say, 24-21. The Rams are going to win today. I think it's going to be a kind of an upset. And as far as Tom Brady's future, you guys think he's going to come back if they lose this game? Or, do you think he's going to now have a little bit of motivation to come back and not go out this way? Or, what are you thinking?
I mean, I think it's over either way. What else does he have left to prove? He won in New England. He won outside of New England. He won with one coach. He won with another one. That's why I said sometimes these guys push it too far. Like, I don't want to see him some bad happen to him and get hurt or whatever, man. I think if he can get through this playoff and get to the Super Bowl, he got to go sit down. But if he lose today, I would say go sit down, man. Because the older you get, the harder it is to recover from these hits. And I think he just has nothing else to give to us, man. Yeah, I mean, you put up all these numbers, you win all these championships. At this point, go hang out with your kids, bro. Leave the NFL alone, man. What else you need to do,
man? I could see him. I could see him come back one year. I could see him doing it because his pride won't let him just go out like that. But like David said, I mean, but how long are you gonna keep doing that? Because this might be one of many more L's you're gonna take, and keep taking them hits after hits after hits, man. That shit gets old after a while. Like you said, he'll be 45 next year. Man, I couldn't imagine. I'm 46, and I couldn't imagine a 25-year-old defensive end coming down screaming and then laying my ass out.
Bro, I'm telling you, if you're in a group or whatever, man, the Facebook group or whatever, there's a young lady in there that I play flag football with, fam, and she will tell you, I'm 42 years old, and I line up against guys sometimes 20 years younger than me, man. It don't get no easier. It don't get easier. Like I was talking to my girl a couple of days ago. I walked into this very office. She's sitting in here working. I said, I think I'm gonna retire this shit. I think I'm done. And I went and watched the game yesterday, and I said, man, Lisa. So I get it. I get how Tom Brady feels. Like you always, until your body tells you you cannot do it, you feel like, why not? Let's go do it. I'm watching the game yesterday. Man, look, man, league start in March. I'm just gonna go to the gym, get on the treadmill, drop 30 pounds real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all gonna be good or whatever. But man, I don't want to wind up like a lot of guys my age in that league having to walk away when you try to plant and cut and you got an ACL, you got to rehab at 42, 43 years old. So that right there, I think if we're trying to get into his mindset, I want to see him. We always want to see the story in a nice way. We don't want to see it, him next year throwing 3 picks every week. You know, he can't run around, he can't move. Like I didn't want to see old Jordan. Did anybody want to see old Jordan? I didn't want to see Wizards Jordan. You know, so it.
Hey, hey, but I take the Skip Bayless approach about that. I act like the season he had. I don't like he never played for the Washington Bullets.
Yeah, man, I
But
agree. I think the doing anything 1 year, too early versus 1 year too late is always the better way to go. I would imagine that if Tom Brady learned anything from Bill Belichick, is always do something a year too early versus a year too late. And I think that, it really depends on how the game goes today. If they fight all the way to the end and they lose on a field goal, let's say, the way I think it'll go, I definitely could see Tom Brady coming back next year. I think the age for him was always 45, just when he was interviewed about it, over the years. So I could see him coming back just off of the strength of that's what he said he was going to do. But if he go out there, and plus the season itself, he's put together nearly an MVP season. So, and if he wins, and the way Aaron Rodgers and them just lost yesterday, he's poised to, make another pretty great run. He wouldn't necessarily have to win the Super Bowl to come back next year. But I can see next year being his last year because, again, I don't want to see him out there getting sacked. And I don't want to see him throwing those, real soft, noodly Peyton Manning passes either. You know what I mean? So,
that last Drew Brees year, bro, when he's throwing the 7-yard outs and then them lollipops. I was like, what are we watching, bro? What
it was painful.
Watching?
It was a tough watch. But I thought Tom Brady said he won't play them. He's 50. I thought that's what he said. He's 50 years old.
He said, well, as long as time and his body allows and, Giselle allows, I'm sure, it is what it is on that. I mean, that TB12 must be working. So, but at the same time, you figure if they win another Super Bowl this year, I mean, he would have to hang it up. I mean, there would be absolutely nothing else to prove at this point.
Hey, man, if he maybe 50, I might have to start looking into this TB12, baby. I might have to see what it's all about.
Give me a case of it. A case.
What you saying?
And then we got the other game today, the Bills versus the Chiefs. I think that's going to be another, that got to be the game of the weekend nearly. The Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs are trying to remain the contenders that everyone thinks they're going to be. They had, even though they were 12-5 this year, for some reason, I feel like they had a shaky season. And just in terms of everything that was going on. And then, on the other side, you got the Bills, and Josh Allen is really trying to come along and, become a real contender, make the Bills a contender in the division. So this one's kind of a toss-up. I got to take the Chiefs. I just believe they have too many weapons, and Andy Reid is still their coach. Eric Bieniemy is still calling the plays. I think that while Pat Mahomes may not be 100%, it's still going to be, something as long as they can kind of keep him upright, the Chiefs are probably going to come out with the win today. But what do you guys think?
I mean, the Bills played a hell of a game last week, so I think Josh Allen might have shot his wad right there. I think it may be ended today. To me, this really should have been an AFC Championship game. This really should have been an AFC Championship game. I wish the Chiefs had got that number 1 seed because the Titans don't deserve it. I mean, oh my gosh, I was like disgusted when I heard they got that number 1 seed, but it is what it is. So this is going to be a hell of a game today, man. I can see a lot of fireworks, a lot of scoring. Defense is going to be thrown out the window. So them other games, a lot of people complaining about was trash. It wasn't no good. It was boring. Hey, you won't get that today. You going to get all the smoke you want today with the offense. So it's going to be definitely interesting. My prediction, I've been predicting ever since I seen the playoff layout. I've seen the Chiefs and the Tampa Bay is going to rematch in the Super Bowl. And that's my prediction, and I'm going to stick with it. I think Tampa's going to win today, and I think the Chiefs going to win today, and the rematch is going to be the Chiefs and Tampa in the Super Bowl, and I think the Chiefs going to win it all. So in order that to happen, Chiefs got to win today for me. So that's what I'm riding with.
Look, man, I love today. I love today because I'm seeing some good quarterback play, man. I'm an old ex-QB, not a very good old ex-QB, but a QB. I love quarterback play, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. I don't think it's the Bills' time yet, man. I think they're knocking on the door, but it's not their time, man. The Chiefs have the experience. They got Pat. Like Josh Allen, he's arrived as a quarterback, but I don't know that he is a championship quarterback yet. But I know Pat Mahomes is. So I think we're going to see a high-scoring game, and I think the Chiefs just going to play a little bit better defense than the Bills, and they're at home. So I think that's where I'm at on that one. But I'm really excited to see the quarterback playing this, man. But watch it turn around and be a 14-11 game. If he's 7 interceptions, it's just how my luck works, man. But it should be a good game, though. It should be a good game. I think the only way the Bills pull this off is somehow the Bills really, really, really make Pat Mahomes uncomfortable. Like, believe it or not, I think Josh Allen's a better runner than Mahomes, actually. And if you really think about it. And I think if they can get Mahomes kind of like, seeing them ghosts in the pocket and wanting to start do all the crazy plays, whatever, trying to throw shit under his knees and all that crazy, whatever, get him into that little off-kilter mindset. That's the only way the Bills can win this game if Pat Mahomes plays a little off-center. So, Nico Suave, what's up, man?
You tuned in to Lapeef Sports. Again, I want to appreciate the sponsor. Give a shout out to the sponsor, Teach Henley. I want to welcome Nico Suave. Nico, I saw you in the back with your Justin Fields jersey.
Yeah, man. It's a good day. Today's a good day, man. For all the wrong reasons, for that team up there in the Wisconsin. But it was a good game.
The hell with their asses.
Yeah, man. It was a good feeling, because they had the role paid for them. All you gotta do is, do enough to beat the 49ers. Really, Aaron Rodgers didn't cost you the game. Your special teams cost you the game. The block field goal before halftime, then the block punt. So, I hope he leave. I hope he go. Get out of here. Go to Las Vegas. Go somewhere.
Just be that. Oakland or some team.
Just take your talents elsewhere. Be like LeBron. Take them to the West Coast. We good.
But as bad as us Bears fans, we are more happy about them losing than our team.
Very true.
Great. This is pitiful, man. We sunk to this all-time low as Bears fans. I'm sick of it. Hey, y'all boys in Hollis Hall better get y'all shit together. I know you're watching because this is the greatest network ever. So I know you're watching. Get y'all shit together. I want to be in playoffs. I'm sick of this shit.
And I agree with Kyle said earlier about, adopting what the Bengals do. Go get one of them Ohio State receivers. You got Olave, you got Wilson. You never know what, you see one piece for the Bengals. Somebody you really didn't think they needed, but, now they I think this is their first time in a long time being in a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So,
yeah, I think Boomer was the quarterback the last time they was here.
Yeah.
Man. Damn.
Yeah. Chad Johnson, all them teams couldn't do it.
And you know what? And Nico, you make a great point. I didn't even think of that. Ohio State got some dudes on the receiving core, and Justin Fields just came from there. So you figure he got to have a little bit of chemistry. I know he was I think he was a transfer student, if I'm not mistaken, but still, I'm sure he got some chemistry. And Olave is one of the best receivers, probably going to be in the draft. So I know the Bears are, they don't have no draft capital, so we'll see how that plays out. But I don't know how high any receivers are going to be going. And with the new GM that they hire, whoever that will be, or whoever Bill Polian could help them find, I don't know how that's going to work. But, hopefully they're able to make that move because, Ohio State got plenty of dudes in terms of receivers that Justin Fields could probably speak to. And, I think that would help them a lot.
And I was when I was watching that game last night, I was thinking, I was like, now, this was the Bears, hypothetically. They would have found a way to lose the game. it's just, I don't know, it's just a Chicago thing. You feel like every time you win the most of the game, then do something crazy. Corner try to jump a route, give up 50-yard, just anything. So I was like, man, the Bears, I don't think if they was in that position, they would have came through. But hopefully, with the new coach, new GM, things will be different. Hopefully.
One of the biggest things I noticed was the play calling on both ends. I mean, it was straight, regular. You know what I mean? It wasn't no two guys going in motion and there's a bubble screen or nothing crazy. Matt Nagy had the worst time to have his most creative play pull out. So that's probably one of the biggest things is they were doing straightforward plays that made sense on the downs that you're supposed to do them on. So, in addition to having, guys that you could rely on, the play calling was there too to match, what the game needed. So also want to welcome Sway in the morning.
Sway, what's going on?
Good morning, y'all. Man, I woke up a little late. I had work super late last night, and I just woke up as soon as the stream started about an hour ago. So I had to take a shower and get all fresh and get the crust out my eyes and stuff like that before I hop on with y'all. But I appreciate y'all having me. I heard a little bit of the conversation today. I haven't got most of it, so I'll let y'all finish wherever you were left off. But I'm more concerned about, I guess, the games y'all just showed with the Bucks, Rams, and Chiefs, Bills. I'm looking forward to those games today.
But this is how bad of a Coach Nagy was, man. You watch how Kyle Shanahan was using Deebo Samuel as a running back at times, just because he produces. Whatever you had to do to get the ball in your best player's hand, you do it. Man, we had a hell of a player last year. Now Atlanta's taking advantage of them and doing what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Could you imagine us using my Manhattan the way that Atlanta did? Man, there was times when Montgomery was hurt. Why could we put Hayden at running back, man? Why could we do that? Could we make up some plays like that? No, because we had the sorry-ass coach, Matt Nagy from the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, I don't want another coach from Kansas City. I don't want shit from Kansas City. I don't want nothing.
That's the one good thing that I've been hearing about the coach and GM search is that we haven't talked to anybody from Kansas City.
No.
And I think that's obviously for optics. You obviously cannot go hire another coach from the same organization you just fired. Just from an optics standpoint, it's probably not a good idea. But when you think about it, though, unfortunately, they're going to hire somebody who probably won't be as good from Chief system, though, knowing the Bears. You know what I'm saying? Like when I see that the two teams that they seem to be interacting with heavily with their executives are the Bills and the Colts. And the names I'm hearing are like Jim Caldwell. Like, you got a 21-year-old quarterback you're trying to develop, and you're going to drag a 68-year-old man in here to do that? What are we doing? What are we doing, bro? And so it's just they take one step forward, they take two steps back, man. I'm honestly at the point I just got to find me a second team or something, man. I can't be miserable like this every January, man. I just can't.
Well, and Sway, in terms of the games today, who you going for the Rams and Bucks? Who you rooting for? And now, who you rooting for? Who do you predict will win the game and why?
I would be a fool to bet against Tom Brady, but this guy has lost a lot of weapons. I'm not sure if Godwin's going to show up. I think we basically got Mike Evans and Gronk showing up. I think it's going to really be a battle of the quarterbacks. Honestly, I don't even think the coaches are going to play the biggest part. I think the quarterbacks are going to be the biggest part in this. They're going to have to make the best reads. I think for the Rams, Matthew Stafford will be their downfall. I think that Jalen Ramsey will show out today, which is my biggest concern. I think Tom Brady will have at least 2 interceptions, and I'm not happy about that, but I think we got to make it up back on defense. Like I said, Matt Stafford, we got to make him fold like a pancake, and then hit our reads when it comes late in the fourth, like he usually do. So I'm not going to bet against Tom. I think the Bucs are going to win. I think it's going to be a close one, though. I think it probably won't even go 20 points. It's probably going to go like 17-14, honestly. So I think that's how that game is going to go. If you want to talk about the Chiefs Bills, man, I think that was probably going to be either mid 25s, like 25-28 game, or that's going to go up into the 30s, just depending how their defense is played. I know Kansas Chiefs never has had the history of the greatest defense, but they do have a history of one of the best offense in the league. And that Bills defense, it can be amazing at times. It can be, flunky at times. You know what I mean? So this is like Avian said earlier, I heard it. This is going to be one of those offensive showdowns. The quarterbacks just out there, for, I guess, superstar quarterbacks out there. And this Chiefs versus Bills game is probably going to be the most exciting game out of the weekend. So I'm looking a little bit more forward to that one, just to see how the defensive hold up. If the defenses don't hold up, I wouldn't be surprised if they go like a 45-48 type of game, just knowing Mahomes, and he has all his weapons, I guess the key weapons, and Tyreek and Kelsey and, whatever little side pieces they have now besides,
Hey, Sway, Goodwin was not playing. I think he's done for the season. So I don't know if that'll change your pick or not, but just letting you know.
I think Tom still squeeze it out. Like I said, I think it'll come down to the defense and making the best reads. And if I was to bet my money on who is going to make the biggest game time throws, I'm going to bet on Tom over Matt Stafford.
So do you think this is a must win for Matt Stafford more so than
Tom? Yes.
And then in the second game, is this a must win for Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen?
I don't think it's a must win for Pat Mahomes. I think it's probably, if he wants to still be talked about seriously, then sure, it's a must win. But I mean, just his career trajectory is still, Hall of Fame worthy, just the sheer numbers and the fact that he already has a Super Bowl. But for Matt Stafford, if he does not win this game, it is done. I don't think people are going to care about him. People are going to how do they do Carson Wentz? They're going to how they do Matt Stafford. They're just going to give up on him. Like, nobody is going to really, not even his own teammates. Because it's going to be a close game, and I promise you, it's going to be on his back. It's not going to be like he has a whole 20-point lead and he could chill for the rest of the half. It's going to come down to the wire, and this guy is going to fold. I promise you. I called it on the Cowboys game. We can talk about how about them Cowboys. I already said that old boy was going to fold last week. Matt Stafford will fold. I promise you. If it goes down to the game where the game is on his neck and he wobbles one way with that kink shoulder, I promise you, no one's going to care about Matt Stafford. He has to win this game. This is a must win, especially for his career. Isn't this the furthest he's gone in the playoffs? Like, if you can't even get to a, what is it, 8 AFC championship, you're bugging. You've had 2-3 star receivers in Megatron, Odell, and Cooper Kupp at this point. And I think you've had Golden Tate and you still just can't get it done. And who else do you have to blame for it? Now you got a great defense, good coaching staff, good little receivers. If you can't get it done to a hurt Bucs team, then with no AB, no Godwin, their defense is a little sketchy at this point. If you can't win against this team, an old Tom Brady, this guy's like 48. You can't win against an old 48-year-old man. You're done. You're done. I promise you. So that's how I feel about that Rams game.
It might be a few guys on the Rams who might get the, because Aaron Donald, the expectations are high about him too. Mm-hmm. Jalen Ramsey, expectations are high for him. People can't wait to throw Odell Beckham under the bus for whatever he might have done. So, and he got Von Miller. I'm sure he might be on his last leg or two. So, the Rams just maybe as a whole team, just as an organization, might be under a lot of pressure today. Nico, what do you think? Do you think Pat Mahomes is not under any pressure?
I feel the same. Sway said, he's not. But I think, like you say, if you still want to elevate, get to that Tom Brady-esque kind of career, Tom Brady has done this before. Peyton Manning days, and then, what other teams he's played. So I think it's really on both of them because I think for Josh Allen, you know, Bills Nation, Bills Mafia, you know, they need a championship, man. You know, they one of them teams. They went 4 times in the 90s, lost all 4 times. So, you know, you feel like that's bad luck after a while. So, you know, I think really it's on both of them, man, to see if, you know, those fans still gonna rock with you or, you know, oh man, he can't get it done. Maybe we need somebody else. It's like, bruh, it's only his 3rd year. Same thing for Pat. He's still young. He still got, I'd say, at least another 10, 15 years in his career. Both of them. So I think it's really on both of them, man, to get the job done. And then in that Rams game, it's on Matt Stafford. You got everything you need. You got everything you need. You got Cam Akers came back, was producing. Sonny Michel's been producing for them all year. You know, you got Odell, you got Kupp, you got Higbee. You really have no excuse not to win. You have no excuse. So, you know, it's on him and Sean McVay, man. And I think, you know, if hypothetically, if they were to get blew out, it would be a problem because it's like, man, you traded off Golf. At least he got you to a Super Bowl, and you can't even make it past the division round with a veteran as in Matt Stafford. So it's really on Stafford, I think. Stafford, but I think he'll get it done. I think he'll do enough. He'll, you know, hopefully that defense can come through, get that pressure like they did last week. Tom Brady, you know, we all know he gets a little happy in the pocket if you hit him a couple times. Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, they got the guys to do it. And I think the Rams will be able to get it done.
Avon, Hank, final thoughts?
Look,
hey man, y'all giving way too much credit to Matt Stafford, man. This is the same Matt Stafford that was Detroit's quarterback for like 9+ years, man.
I can't believe y'all don't like Matt Stafford. That dude got.
Man, I think he is trash.
Man, he got Megatron out the league. It's his fault.
And
It's
he's
his fault
trash,
Megatron
man.
left
He
early.
is trash.
I blame him, and
Hey,
I'm still upset about that. I'm still
hey,
mad.
the thing about it, man, they traded him for Golf. Hey, man, Golf look better than Detroit than Matt Stafford does right now, man. At least that man got a few big wins here and there. You know, I don't know, man. I don't see him winning today because of Matt Stafford. That's why I see him not win. Do they got some names? Yeah, they got some names. They got some top-notch all-pro type future Hall of Fame names. But if you got a trash quarterback leading your team, man, ain't enough names in the world's gonna help you, dog. So I don't think I don't think the Rams gonna win because of Matt Stafford. He'll find a way to give a critical turnover down in the red zone. And then that's just what he does, man. The moment gets tight, his asshole gets tight, you know, he chokes, man. So I mean, I see Brady winning because he's not gonna have to do too much. He's gonna do just enough. You know, Mike Evans is gonna have a good game, but like I said, I think Gronk's gonna be the MVP of this game. But Stafford gonna find a way to jack it off, and that's just what he do. He just do a Stafford thing. So,
look, man, on this one here, I had 2 thoughts. With Josh, the question was that who has the most to prove this weekend out of the 4 quarterbacks? I think it's Josh Allen. I think all the other guys are established veterans who've been there, done that. Josh Allen ain't been nowhere, ain't done nothing. So that being said, I think there's the most pressure on a quarterback this weekend will be Josh Allen because he's kind of in a place where I think Cam Newton was like several years ago. Cam Newton was a good quarterback who never became a great quarterback. Right now, Josh Allen is a good quarterback waiting to become a great quarterback. I think that's who's got the most pressure on him this weekend out of those 4 quarterbacks. And the other thought on this Stafford thing, man, look, here's Sway, check this out. You got me thinking about something. Imagine if you go down there to Tampa and get your butt whooped tonight, and you're the GM of the Rams, you got to look at your owner and tell him after you done traded off Jared Goff to bring in Matthew Stafford, and now you got to go find another quarterback. Does he get a chance to even do that? Do we get coaches and GMs fired in LA if they lose today? I think you might. I really think you might, man, because their window to win is still open. But you bring in another quarterback, maybe another coach, you can still win. But you telling me you running it back next year with that coach and that quarterback you lose tonight? I don't know, man.
Man, but what more can the GM do? You know what I mean? Maybe be able to get another quarterback. Give them Matthew Stafford for a pick and whoever. I don't know, Russell Wilson. It might seem like a perfect destination for the LA Wilsons, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's
Watson or something.
Man,
try to go get Deshaun out of Texas.
Aaron Rodgers to come into LA. It'd be a tough. It'd be a tough sell to fire the GM, maybe the coach or the coach. I feel like. Those are the posted, those are the guys they like out there.
But think about it, though. Think about it, Kyle. Think about it, Kyle. We don't really live in the rational sports world we lived in almost 5 years ago. It seems like now nobody has patience for anything. NFL coaches used to get 4 or 5 years before they run them up out of here. Now dudes is getting fired after one. So, and it's LA. Like LA is not a place where they stagnation works. You know what I mean? You just can't keep running back the same BS over and over again. So I'm wondering, what move? I think the obvious answer is Aaron Rodgers. You put Aaron Rodgers in that quarterback position. I'm not trying to give them, no bright ideas because I think that would actually piss me off as a Bears fan.
It would upset me. It would upset me greatly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want Aaron Rodgers to get the golden parachute to LA. I don't want that. But if I was the GM of the LA Rams, I'm going to have a conversation with my coach about this quarterback we got. And if I get Aaron Rodgers down, in LA, that's what I'm doing if I lose tomorrow, man.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out today. So we're going to transition a little bit. Before we get to the topic of the day, I want to get into the Bulls real quick. First of all, I'm upset that Alex Caruso is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on Grayson Allen. And first of all, his impact on the Bulls. You guys think that Alex Caruso being out again is going to cause them some kind of delay in terms of their trajectory across the season? Or is this just going to be, just a minor setback in the grand scheme of things? And then also when we get to it, how come no one has gone to seeing Grayson Allen yet? So I just, just curious on what you guys' thoughts are. The Bulls are benefiting because they do have a little bit of depth, especially at guard. So they probably can play through this, but it's kind of another blow to, just their plans and whatnot. And this particular injury, your wrist injury, even though you can maybe come back in 8 weeks, who knows on how that's going to impact him as a shooter and just his passing and whatnot, or his ability to take contact. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Man, Grayson Allen is a damn walking asshole, man. He's one of those white dudes you got to just whoop his goddamn ass for doing some silly shit like this, man. One of the teammates should have whooped his ass. At least jumped in his face. They did nothing.
It looked like he was giggly too. It looked like he had a little smile on his face.
Hey man, it was pitiful. But Grayson Allen is a dirty type player. He's been doing this ever since college, man. So this ain't nothing new for him. He's been doing it. I remember a couple of times he got in trouble, and they actually Mike Krzyzewski sit him down for a game because he got a couple tackles for kicking somebody in the balls, man. The dude's an asshole. He's a straight up asshole, man. Somebody should have whooped his ass by now. Especially some shit like that. Like you said, Donovan said I don't know about hurt Caruso's career, but still, he could have been done for the season. Because he came down on that shoulder pretty hard, man. I thought he could have dislocated that shoulder. That would have really been bad. So the guy's an asshole player. Somebody should have whooped his ass.
Yeah, he's out with a fractured wrist up to 8 weeks. So that's why I was like, in addition to him just being off the cast and all of that and just cleared to play, there's still, I'm sure he's going to have to put a wrap on his hand now. I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of that he's going to have to get used to. So, I feel like the impact of the injury might be felt long after the 8 weeks.
Well, that and the mental part of it. I mean, you got this thing, even if you got a cancer risk, you're still worried about somebody maybe hitting it, or are you, like you said, taking too many bumps, or taking a charge, or you can't, say you're going to be worried about doing that, or getting a pick hard by one of them big boys. So, all that's going to play in the back of his mind, I'm sure. So, but somebody should have whooped his ass. The hell with Grayson Allen.
I think Grayson Allen plays hard. That it's like he plays so hard and passionately that it can get borderline reckless. Like, I mean, if he was back in maybe the 90s or the 80s, people probably wouldn't have seen him as crazy. But I mean, nowadays you just can't play so physical where you're trying to take guys out. Like back in the day, I'm sure you could play as physical to take a guy out and your team would support you because you got the guy at the game. And we don't, it helps our team. But we don't see it that way anymore. We see it as this guy is being a dirty player and he's, a detriment to the sport of the game because you're taking out players who don't deserve to get hurt. And I mean, I personally don't care about what Grayson Allen does. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I care that Caruso did get hurt. I think that will hurt you guys. I like Caruso a lot. You know what I mean? He's a good little white boy player that be dunking and shooting. He's pure entertainment. I like it. And I think he can be good on any team, just like Lonzo. But you guys do have a lot of guards. So will it really hurt your team? No, and I don't think it's going to be a big issue about him being scared with his wrists. I mean, maybe like a knee issue or something. I know people care about those or like ankles, but the wrists, I mean, was it his shooting wrist or what is his left hand?
Yeah, it was his shooting wrist. I think after the game, he was talking about how in the second half it was a little bit. I'm sure it was just a fresh injury more so than a long-term thing, but he did say
only
that
fractured too.
Yeah, so I don't think he says he doesn't think it'll be a long-term issue, but it was his shooting wrist, and he didn't have a second half when he came back. So,
well, I've had fractures and they're not full breaks like clean. They're just I'm sure you guys all know you do sports, and so as long as he goes to PT, I'm sure he'll be fine. But like the whole Grayson Allen thing, like I said, I don't really have any feelings about Grayson Allen. I think he's just he plays super, super hard that it can be borderline reckless, and he does play probably too fast for his own game. Some Russell Westbrook type like player, but that's just what I think about him.
Hey, Sway, if that dude was back in the 80s and 90s, he would have gotten mollywopped, man.
Oh, for sure.
Somebody would have curb stomped his ass.
He would have had to take the same energy back for sure. Like I said, it was both ways. Now it's just him going out there crazy. And I don't know if that's also like a reason he's doing it because people aren't really just going to punch him in his face right back. But like you've seen that back in the day. Dudes choking him and punching him and mushing him through the lane and just had no care for the guy's well-being. I mean, but it went both ways. Like you're right. It went both ways.
You're too young for this, but man, I remember seeing highlights of Rudy Tomjanovich getting sucker punched in the face after an altercation, and man, he was done. I mean, that broke his whole face up to the point, man, they had to repair him and put them all back together like the $6 million man.
Kermit Washington was the guy that.
Yeah, man, Cole knocked his ass out.
I mean, there's a clip out where Kareem punches some dude in the face. Like
that's
I think
what
Kareem got hit in the stomach, and then
that's
like
what it was.
He got hit in the stomach.
Oh man, I remember when your boy Bill Lambert did it, and your boy tried to choke him out.
Exactly.
Charles Barkley tried to choke him out.
Yep.
No, you don't do that shit.
Well, like I used to watch these old school games in middle school, man. My brother can tell me. I used to watch old hardwood sports, classic games all the time. I see them choking each other out, punching them.
Man, it's different. It's different. Hey, but that was a reason to get his ass knocked out right there.
Well, the thing about Grayson Allen too right now, I mean, it looks like he does have the support of the team. It looks like it's only his second flagrant foul of the season. I feel like the season is still kind of young, but it's only his second one of the season. And the coach Mike Budenholzer says that he's been great for the team. To Sway's point, he plays really hard, sometimes too fast for his own good. So as far as they're concerned, you know what I mean? Grayson Allen is a great addition to the team who brings a lot of energy, apparently. But, so it's interesting the difference in terms of, when he's your teammate and he's your guy, he's a great energy guy to have. But the rest of the league and other coaches see him and say, that guy got one coming to him. So, it's interesting on, every time that guy's your teammate, you love him. And when he's not your teammate, that's the dude you want to see get hurt. So, it's kind of crazy in that way.
So a layman term, he's the team goon.
But that's typical of Duke, ain't it? They always got some guy that if you're not a Duke player or a fan, everybody else hate him. JJ Redick. JJ Redick's probably like a chill dude, but everybody hated him back in the day just for being good.
Here's the thing. I think here's the thing that bothers me the most about this. It kind of goes back to what Hank was talking about. Was we have an NBA environment now where they come down really hard on fighting, right? You know, back in the day, you know, the 90s Bulls, they was fighting every month, man. You know what I mean? Like it was something like this every month, you know? And now, especially after the Malice at the Palace, they were very, very cognizant of the image of black men throwing fists at each other very frequently. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted to clean up the image of the league. But I think one of the unfortunate byproducts of that is that when things like this happen, people don't get checked. And I think him coming from Duke, college is a safe environment for the most part. They're not going to let y'all throw hands. Nobody's going to really be able to run up on you. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't get down like that. But in the NBA, it used to be is if you were going to make this conscious decision to play like this, you had to be willing to have the energy come back at you. Now that energy doesn't come back at you because the legal, the suspensions, the fines add up now to a point where you got to control yourself because they're going to come down on you hard. Now we don't. They used to be, for the most part, it used to police itself. Now the league lets it happen, but doesn't police it. And I don't want it to get to the point where we got dudes, you know, think a lot of these dudes in the league are still connected to the street. And I don't want it to get to the point where he got one of his hangers on running up on your boy outside of the team bus or something after a game. Because people, I mean, this is a very emotional game, man. If he'd have did that on the court here in Chicago, man, he'd have to pack up and move around. Somebody would have took him out, bro. You know what I mean? So the fact that nobody's checking him is dangerous long term because he's going to keep doing it until you have a real bad situation where somebody's going to hurt him on live TV on the court and you have a bigger issue than you already have. They got to suspend him, do eye for eye until Alex Caruso is back. Why don't you go ahead and have a seat? Your playing time is based on his rehab. Good luck to you, sir. I think that would be some fair justice. You ain't got to run up on nobody. You ain't got to fight nobody. Just every time you do some goofy-ish, every time somebody get hurt, you stand on the sideline so that guy comes back.
Well, to your point, Avon, about you know, sometimes they're policing itself. It's also low-key an indictment on the Bulls because they don't have a guy, and maybe I might have said this on a previous episode that we had or just having a conversation with someone, that the Bulls don't have like that energy guy, that goon type guy that's defending the players like that, you know, that, and that's a perfect example of, you know, I don't think Grayson Allen is a dummy, you know what I mean? So he's not going to just do that to anybody, I don't think, you know what I mean? You wouldn't see him do that to LeBron, or you wouldn't see him do that to a lot of other guys. So, you know, a hard foul like that, who on the Bulls is going to go and run and get in Grayson Allen's face? You know what I mean? I don't think there is a guy on that roster who could do that. And so, you know, just in terms of having attitude, having spirit, you know what I mean? Some kind of solid grit, you know, in your face kind of guy, the Bulls don't have that at all. So, you know, pretty much throughout their roster, even Billy Donovan as a coach isn't necessarily, you know, a hard-nosed kind of guy. So I think that, to your point, a lot of teams had those kind of guys on there where if you foul a guy, you're going to have to deal with, you know, all these guys who may not get a lot of playing time, but they will defend their stars, you know, until they get thrown out the game. So, you know, even though it's definitely a dirty play and Grayson Allen deserves to get, you know, at least a hefty fine, I feel like there's got to be precedent for him to get a lot of games suspended. But, you know, this should also let the Bulls know that, hey, they need to get a little tougher too. You know, they can't allow a guy like Alex Caruso, who, you know, has a big impact on their team, you know, in terms of defense, leadership among the guards. You know, he had a really important role before, you know, he was out. So I think that a guy like that, they got to protect him. So, you know, Nico, before you get out here, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with Avon said. You know, he should have to sit down. And I think, you know, you will send a message throughout the NBA like, look, you know, you can't be overdoing it, man. And like, you know, what Sway was saying earlier, he does play with a certain recklessness, but some stuff, you know, all of them guys have been playing basketball for a long time. So you know, hey, if I grab his shoulder while he's going up, he gonna fall, you know, towards his back or, you know, different things like that. So I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He just didn't know he would hit the ground that hard. It was almost like I'm trying to send a message, but I didn't mean for him to get hurt. And it's like, bro, you can't keep doing that. And the Bulls, they need Udonis Haslam to go see Grayson Allen or something. One of the Morris brothers, one of them, like, bruh, you can't, you know, you can't keep doing that because somebody is gonna see you. And you know, you might get Chris Childs, you know, like he did Kobe that one time. You know, you you get a 2-piece to the nose, then you talking about, man, they violent out here. No, they've been letting you get away with this, and now somebody came and saw you about it. So I agree.
Crazy thing is, those guys don't exist in the league anymore. They weeded them out the league. Like, it used to be a basketball attribute: toughness, leadership, physical play. Especially as a front court guy, that used to be a measurable attribute we would give to guys, a value we would give to guys. You would trade for a guy to give you some toughness, to give you some rebounding, to give you some paint protection, to basically be a grown ass man down there to make sure things don't get out of hand. We've what they call, we've positionless basketball these guys out of the league, and they're not there no more. Like, you can think about who's on the Bulls roster was going to do that though. There's the only dude I thought on the Bulls roster that was like would you know, had a trigger moment where you like, hey, don't do that, would be Ayo. He from the crib, he from the hood, but he's so young and he's such a nice kid that probably he was like, whoa, I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no problems or whatever. And he's a rookie. So you can't even ask him to do that. But there's nobody on the roster. I mean, who it should be is Vooch big ass. It should be Vooch. Nobody should feel comfortable, you know, doing all that stuff. You 6'11", 270 damn pounds. Nobody should feel comfortable doing that around you at all. But, you know, like I said, he's big ass European Carlos Boozer, bro. That's all that he is, man.
Hey, I tell you who used to do it for us when he was there was Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis would be quick to lay hands on somebody.
Yeah, Bobby Portis.
We teammates and he'll lay hands on you.
Did he knock out Lucioni? Which ball?
He knocked out his own teammate.
Nico. I think he beat up Nico.
Yep.
That's why he got traded out.
He broke his jaw. I think he broke his jaw or something like that. It was crazy, man. Like he did him wrong. He did him wrong, but you know, I'm pretty sure he didn't say whatever he said again to another teammate. So I mean, you know, they need to call Charles Oakley or somebody. Like, hey, Charles, go handle that. He still got some strength. Charles ain't right that tight.
I would honestly believe Grayson Allen would do that to LeBron, though. I think he would do all that to anybody. I don't think it matters who it is. I think if it was KD, Kobe, James Harden, whoever, Michael Jordan, he was going up there and trying to do whatever he was going to do up there. It don't matter if it was Alex Caruso or whoever. He doesn't care. You know what I mean?
Do it to Joker,
he knows the league isn't going to allow you to just fight him. It's not necessarily his team. Like, he knows the league isn't going to allow you to just fight him. And if anything, you're going to have to make a case that that's actually, you know, worth him being fined over. And he's okay with that. He seems like a guy with money. I'm pretty sure his family has money. I'm sure he has a decent NBA contract. I don't think he really cares. And I think that's how he's going to keep playing like that. And like you said, no one's going to check him. And I think someone's going to have to check him, like, physically. Someone's just going to have to mollywop him and take him for the team and just deck him real quick. You know, like, I don't know, like Shaq. Get some big 7-foot dude to just punch him in the face, and he'll probably stop.
Well, that seems like a good segue to get to the main part of today's broadcast. And that, unfortunately, is Dwayne Haskins, as y'all saw in the thumbnail. Dwayne Haskins' wife is off the hook. The charges were dropped on her in a domestic violence case. After the story goes, I guess, I don't know if we should say allegedly or not, but they got into an altercation, I believe, at a casino in Las Vegas. She hit him with the Rocky Balboa. I believe she knocked a tooth out. And, it was something that went public. But at this point, the charges have been dropped. So, the question is, regardless if you're a public figure or an athlete or whatever it is, when you're in an abusive relationship as the man, how do you handle that? Is it a good look to press charges against your wife, divorce her, get out of that relationship? Or because we don't know the details, we should support them from a distance? I know that's kind of a tough thing to put yourself in his shoes, but, what do you guys think?
I thought, when did they get married? I thought that was his fiance when this event happened, when she laid hands on the man.
I believe it happened it might have been more than a year ago now. But
yeah, he was with the Washington football team, I think, when that happened.
Yeah, so I don't think they were married just yet. I think that they are currently married, but I don't think that they were married.
Hell no.
They were married.
My God.
They got married.
That boy's a fool. He's a goddamn fool. First of all, why you married a woman who whooped your ass? Fellas, if a woman lays her hands on you and y'all not in a bedroom and you ain't tied up, don't go for that bullshit. Don't go for that bullshit. First of all, keep your hands to yourself. We ain't doing none of this. We ain't doing none of that, man. Man, knock your tooth out. Do she embarrass you publicly? I'm sure she embarrassed your ass privately. If she was bold enough to do it out there in the casino in Vegas, I know she's whooping your ass behind closed door. And you just accepting that? Man, we would have never walked down the aisle. I said, hey, matter of fact, you can keep the ring. I don't want that son of a bitch. I don't want it. It ain't worth it. Get out of there, dog. Get out of there. He should have pressed charges, and I don't know why he dropped him. Now, maybe he dropped him because it is his wife now. Now that the dynamic changed, if that's your wife, yeah, you probably want to drop the charges. But, dog, if she's just your fiance, yeah, the charges would have stuck all the way. And I would have never, she would have never got married. This would never been the last time you publicly embarrassed me, privately embarrassed me, the last time you ever hit me. Like I said, I'm going to charge you to the fullest. And I hope they throw your ass in jail for about 30 days or something. But, man, look, keep your damn hand to yourself, woman. Don't think it's okay for you to lay your hands on a man. Because not every man the same. Some man going to respond differently. Some man might kill your ass if you put your hands on them. You got some men that accept that and take it and try to get away from it. But, man, I don't take no chances out here. I tell my daughter, we got two daughters, and my wife now. I told her all the time, don't come calling me talking about a man, because first thing I'm gonna ask you, what did you do? How did you incite the situation? Did you put hands on him? Did you verbally abuse him? Did you go mushing him in his face, pointing in his face? And if you did all that, oh no, ain't nothing I could do for you, baby. I'm gonna tell you to do. Call the police, get up out of there. But dog, if you insinuate and push the issue, you had no right. So if this man responded like that, I can't fault him. He had every right to defend himself. Because ain't no law says a woman can hit a man and that's okay, but a man can't hit a woman. No. You hit anybody consider assault. No, we ain't having this. Bump that.
Look at man. So I had to do my homework. Did some Google searching. This young lady is from Benton Harbor, Michigan. And I don't know if anybody's ever been to Benton Harbor, Michigan before. It's Gary with a lake view. It's all that it is. It's Gary, Indiana with a lake view, bro. And I looked at her picture, and boy, does she look the part. Boy, the 8 foot long weave, the 2 foot long eyelashes, like, dog, she looked exactly how you would imagine the story to look, bro. And I just, once again, I think a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about how young men have to learn how to pick better young ladies to involve themselves with, man. Because boy, it's textbook. It's like, let me draw up the angry young, you know what I'm saying, athlete beating on young internet thought princess, whatever. She looked exactly like it would be popping in the dictionary, like right there. That's what she would look like, bro. And he gonna stay. Watch, he gonna stay because only dudes who place women on these huge pedestals like this, man, in their mind or whatever, like they because if you look at the pictures of her, right? Go look if you can go Google the pictures of her, you could imagine in his little feeble mind why he don't want to let that go. Because that's what he's into. And he gonna go back to it and she gonna do it again. Because our young men don't know how to value substance over what they see in front of them, man. And the fact that he still walked down the aisle, he goofy. That's all we can say. In Chicago, we're gonna goof ass. He's goof ass. That's all you can call him on this one, bro. That's exactly what he is, man. It's gonna end bad for him to watch.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think he's doing this because he might be next in line to get him a little starting position in Pittsburgh? He's trying to keep his name out the news. He was Dwayne Haskins hasn't necessarily had a great campaign in the NFL so far. He 1 foot out the league, in a certain way, unless he's going to be a career fighting for a second, third stringer. So maybe he's doing all of this just to get it over with and get it out of people's mind. To drag something like this on when you fighting for a starting position in Pittsburgh, that might not be the best look. Sway, what do you think?
This don't even make sense, man. This guy, she honestly, I don't know the situation and I don't know her. And so no offense to this woman. But for all this to happen, she had to do some word judo mumbo jumbo bull crap to get his mind to just forget or think somehow he was in the wrong for getting his ass whooped. Because there ain't no way a man get their ass whooped and they just marry this girl still. Like, especially if she knocked out a tooth. Like, she had to done some.
She did later deny that was his tooth, but they said on a tooth on the floor at the casino.
Like, she had to do some word judo to get his brain to just be on her side somehow. Because I couldn't see another way. I couldn't see myself even getting into a fight with my girl physically, and then still wanting to be with her. Like, my girl, she tried to joke around, call me a bitch, and this was like normal. Like, won't mad, and I was like, hold up, you about to be just like joke? She's like, I was just joking. I was like, no, you're not about to just call me a bitch, because I can only imagine if you think you comfortable now calling me a bitch, what you gonna say when you mad, or how you gonna react when you mad. If you can call me a bitch comfortable, how you gonna react when you mad? So she's like, oh, so I be checking little things like that, and if I see it again, these are all red signs. Like, if I keep seeing this, I'm not gonna wife you. This dude got beat up and he still wifed her. That's the biggest red sign right there, and you still, like I'm saying, it's not. And it was a young guy. That's how I know the only way you can get it crossed with is with these younger guys. Isn't he a young guy? He's around my age, ain't he? Dwayne Haskins. He's no older than 20.
He's had a real unique time. I mean, he was very young getting into the league. He had a weird little experience with Ohio State being, he like skyrocketed to fame because he had like 1 real good season, I want to say, at Ohio State. Then he got drafted. So he's kind of been a wild ride for him. And then now he's just, I would imagine that he doesn't want to be the guy that got beat up by his girl fighting for a 3rd string spot on the Houston Texans or anything like that. He's trying to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, and you can't have I imagine it's better to say, you dropped in and you moved on versus, I threw my wife in jail and divorced her. You know what I mean? I just feel like maybe one story might be easier to deal with than the other.
I mean, if he held the charge to divorce her, that makes sense. Because then you need someone to divorce her with and have like some type of probable cause, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, where it doesn't look like you just, like, it's where you might not lose all your money. You know what I mean? You might lose a little bit, but you're not going to lose all of it, especially since it seemed like a new marriage and she beat him up. But, I mean,
prior to this happened before they got
that
married.
would be the only reason I would say to keep the charge. If you're going to stay married to her, then you gotta drop it. But if you're going to divorce her, then you might want to use that charge against her. Be like, hey, this what happened. She's still doing this now, and it's like, she has prior experience. But if you're not going to keep bringing that up, then you might as well drop it. Like like Hink said. But I'm still gonna go back to the point. Like, she has her word game. I've seen women like the way they talk, they can really get you to believe that you were wrong for being mad at them. You know what I mean? Like, they get mad at you for being mad at them, and they can make you believe that you're in the wrong for being mad. And like, I swear to God, she did something like that to him, because I don't see any man with 2 cents marrying a woman that beat them up. Guys, a woman beat you up. If
At the
if
casino.
Kyle, if your wife
It was
punched
in
you in your
public.
face,
It was in
kneed you in
public.
your gut, and kicked you in your shin, are you marrying this woman?
Nah.
I'm so
fucking married.
confused. Like,
Weak-minded man. He's a
how we even
weak-minded
having this
young man, man.
conversation? How are we even having this conversation? Did he married her after?
Do you think there's any kind of stigma with football players in particular? Like, oh, he should be able to just take that in
I
terms
think it's
of
a stigma
physical
with black
abuse?
men. I think it's a stigma with black men. You got to be a superhero. His mama probably was in his ear telling him something as well. You know what I mean? His little community or whatever. Like, yeah, his friends probably was on him, like, how you get beat up by a girl, and like, you know, you're supposed to be the man, you know, whatever. But why did she beat me up? That's my question. Why did she put her hands on me and now I got to sit with it? That's how I feel. But he's probably, you know, came into the guilt and just succumb to it and be like, you know what, you right. I shouldn't have let her beat me up. I'm the man. Blah 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 blah. I got to work it out. Fuck that. I ain't working shit out. I'm working out all these other women's guts and I'm keeping it pushing. That's what I'm working out. Fuck her. This one woman is one chick and they all look the same. You tell me you couldn't go find another red bone? There's like 80 of them hoes in your little facility just come to see you.
Man, she got some good head. She gets some good head. That's how, man. That's the only thing I could think of, young boy. She done threw that thing on him so tough. Man, he can't think straight. That's the only way I think he kept it around. There's no way, man. There is no way. She lay hands on me. There's no way we in a relationship right now. You just fiance. That's your exit right there. Only financial obligation you have to her is if you won't get that ring back or not. Now, like I said, keep that ring. That ring's not worth it. It's not worth the headache that I'm gonna have to go through for the whatever length of time that we stay married. Dude, ain't man. There's no way. I don't care if there was kids involved. I'm not staying with this woman if she put her hands on me. There's no way I'm going to do it. A woman would stay with you, for the most part, would stay with you if you lay hands on her. I promise you, she gonna get out.
Do y'all think
There's no way that happen.
Do y'all think there's any anything going on with just the modern day woman in general? Because even, you know, there's another story out there that we can kind of just use as more fuel for this particular conversation, that Britt Baker, who's a AEW wrestler, challenged both the Paul brothers to a fight, to box. And, you know, she's probably I don't watch AEW, so I can't necessarily speak to how popular she is, how strong she is, or whatever she is. You know what I'm saying? If she could beat up China from the DX, you know what I'm saying? If I don't know where she at on that rank, but she's out talking about she'll box the Paul brothers. So it's just, interesting, the willingness of men and women to kind of come to blows these days. And so I was just wondering if there's anything new with the modern day woman where they feel more protected in society to fight men in public. What's y'all thought on that, Nico? Man, I'll swing it to you first.
Yeah, a lot of them feel like they can do everything just as good as we can. Because people put that in their mind. Girl, you strong. Girl, you can do this. Girl, you can do that. All that. It's like, you can't tell them nothing. Can't tell them nothing. She probably got somebody in her ear talking about, girl, yeah, you can fight them. Lady, don't even. Like, just stick to women. Stick to fighting your own, the women your size, your age, all that. But as far as that Dwayne Haskins, man, that dude, yeah, I don't know what he thinking. He gotta exit stage left. Because it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. Next time she might have pull a knife on him. People crazy, man. And then you keep letting stuff like this go. And then, it only get worse. Knock the tooth out. That ain't good. Next, she might call somebody on you or pull a knife. It's like, people crazy. He got to get out of there. He done started fresh in Pittsburgh. It's some chick in Pittsburgh that give him exactly what he's looking for. You know, I don't know what he's looking for. He like Abe said, he might be looking for them kind of chicks. I don't know, but that is crazy. She done knocked your tooth out and you still like, hey, she the one? Nick, how?
Hey, Nico, it's 2022. There's some kinky motherfuckers out here, man. It might, like you said, it might be his thing to get his ass spanked, whooped, beat up, tortured. Right. They into that.
100%.
But there's no way. There's no way I could accept that, man. I'm gone. First of all, my boy, your boy got to ride your ass out to the point where you need to leave her. Because they ain't going to let you breathe until you leave her. First of all, that's 100%. The crew I roll with. We're not going for this, dog. We're not. Really? You don't let that girl whoop your ass and you still with her?
I wonder who's in his ear. Like, I'm pretty sure he had to tell somebody, hey, I think she the one. And I wonder, do we have some, some old heads in his ear? Something that's like, nigga, no. Let that go. That ain't it. Yeah, she might be Mike Tomlin, but I love her. Like,
it might be Mike Tomlin in his ear telling him, hey man, trying to getting the story and just hearing about, it could be a toxic relationship all the way around for all we know. And Mike was just like, well, I don't know what y'all got going on, but if you love that girl and y'all got past it, hell, you may as well go on to marry her because we can't afford to have any distractions here in the Steelers organization. So if they tell you that, and she, might be all the way with it, it might be in your best, it might be in Dwayne Haskins' best interest to stay with it versus make it worse by trying to separate yourself. I mean,
he's gonna pull a knife on him.
There's no way he can make it worse. There's no way he can make it worse separating from her, bro. Look, check this out. Dwayne Haskins should have did what I just did in the last 5 minutes before he started dating. He should have Googled her. So I didn't realize who this is. Now she's the sister. Y'all know about this little girl that played for the Sparks, LA Sparks, that get all the attention because she real cute.
Cooper.
She ride the bench sometimes, but sometimes she plays.
Little Tia Cooper chick.
Yeah, this is her sister, bro.
That was Dwight Howard's ex.
Yeah, this is man. Well, shouldn't that tell you something right there?
The sister was his ex.
Like, it's just all the man had to do was Google it, man. What's interesting is sometimes when you deal with the opposite sex, you're dating or whatever, man. Like, you gotta do your homework, man. But I think in this situation, he's visually locked into this one, bro. He's locked in on what she looked like. He think in his mind that's what he's supposed to have, regardless of what it come with. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that's where we at with this situation, that he's going to be young and dumb for her for probably about another 5 to 7 years. They're going to probably bring 2-3 kids in this world, and they're going to be toxic to each other until they're 35 years old. Them kids is, being toxic themselves, man. But because we see that all the time in the community. You know what I mean? You take 2 young people who probably really like each other, but really don't have a lot of emotional stability. And this is how we get what we get in the community, man. This is literally how we make mediocre people, right here with these type of situations.
But you know what the problem is, man, is that this could end bad for her. Because you keep pushing an individual to a certain extent, they're going to lash out. They're going to fight back. Even a coward eventually finds some spine in his back to bow his back and fight back. Man, it's going to be one of those days, dude had a bad practice or a bad game, coach tore his ass up, you know what I'm saying? The teammates are getting on him. It's not looking good. He might get cut or he did get cut. He going to come home. She going to say something. She going to jump back with, your punk ass should have been on the team anyway. And he going to wail on her. That's what's going to end up happening. He's going to push it to the point. He's going to get tired of getting his ass whooped by her. He might fight back. And then you're going to have the worst curse in her. Then they're going to look back. Well, man, why'd you put hands on her? What you going to say? For years, she put hands on me. She been whooping my ass for 5 to 6 years. I'm tired of it. And guess what? That rule don't apply to it when you go to court. See, then women can sit there and say, I killed my abuser because he abused me for so long. And I got sick of it. I got tired. And I retaliated. It's self-defense. No, they gonna look at you like they gonna laugh at you crazy. She 125.5, you 6'4", 230, and you did this? Why'd you have to do all that? Why did you leave when you had a chance? Man, they gonna laugh you at the courtroom and throw your ass in the jail, man. You're gonna be in prison on some bullshit because you finally decided to fight back when you should have ran a long time ago. That first incident should have got away from him. It should have never been a situation talking about that's my wife. No, you ain't wife. We're gonna get married to you before you put your hands on me. We don't have this type of relationship. That's not what we're doing here. So hell no, he's a fool. He's a plumb fool. He's a fool when he came in the league. His coach told him he wasn't ready, yet he still trying to come league. So I'm not surprised by these decisions that this guy is making. They was dealing with the vid. He went out to the strip club. Dude, your coach was just got through fighting cancer, and you out here at a strip club knowing all this is going around? Bad decision maker, man. Bad investment, man. If I was Steelers, I'd cut him right now. I've seen this article. No, this ain't gonna be any good. Let him go.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at with Dwayne Haskins specifically. His decision making over his career, just in general, whether it's away from the field or just reports of him not studying plays and just being in meetings prepared. They had a couple of those back when he was in Washington. So for him, this might be his last chance on a team. So I feel like maybe Mike Tomlin was the one who's like, hey, if this is what you want to have happen in your career, you're going to have to, shore this up. You're going to have to figure out your situation with your girl. You're going to have to get rid of whoever else in your circle that's enabling you to do all these things and, kind of tighten it all up. And I imagine, he's only 24 years old. So maybe in his mind, it might be cheaper to keep her. So even though it's an abusive situation, whether verbally or physically or both, there's plenty of players or just relationships in general where you see people who are even verbally abusive to each other. And you always say like them two, they need to break up, but they don't. Them two people never break up. They never, they never improves, but they also never leave each other. So there definitely are some people out there who, grew up maybe in a toxic environment. And so that's all they know is putting hands on each other and then making up later on. So, who knows how this is going to impact his career though, because it can't be a good look one way or the other, being known as being part of a abusive relationship, even as the victim. If you're the man football player and you're a victim of physical spousal abuse, that's not going to bode well for you. So, because as soon as you start playing bad, they're going to find a way to get rid of you. So, I feel like he's kind of in a lose-lose situation right now.
And I feel like that's the crazy part. Mike Tomlin said, hey, figure that out. He say that I'm a marrier. He like, nah, that ain't what I meant, but do what you do, son. I'm going to just let you live your life. I can't live it for you. I'm going to let you do what you do.
I'm going to go back to this whole thing of dudes doing their homework, man. You talking about wifing a chick, man. Google is your friend. So, I was sitting here looking like, bro, what is going on with this chick? Who is she? Where did she come from, man? This chick was a former Miss Basketball in the state of Michigan, played for Michigan State for 8 games and then disappears into oblivion for a couple of years and surfaces on Instagram a couple of years later selling lashes, bro. Don't you have questions? Don't you have questions at this point, bro? Like, how you go from being Miss Basketball in the state of Michigan to playing for Michigan State to, I sell lashes now. There's questions you got to ask of somebody whose life is going in one trajectory and all of a sudden it's going to another. And you're like, how did you get here? What happened? And you have to, kind of sort that out for yourself. But no, I've been looking at the pictures. He saw a light-skinned chick with long hair, would look like with some big old fake boobies or whatever. And he's just been walking around led by the wrong head since he walked into her life, bro. I get it. I'm 42 years old. I know how to ask critical questions when I get to know somebody or whatever. He's 24. He may have not had that social training or whatever. but he need to get it up in a hurry, because if you married someone like this, think about the people around you that's handling your money. Think about the people that's handling your security. Who's handling your investments? I don't want to hear the answer to those questions, because I don't think I'm going to like the answers, bro.
Hey man, he's gonna end up as one of them old bad stories, man, and that's what's gonna end up happening. He's gonna be a bad story, the guy that never was, don't live up to his potential, and that's what the situation gonna be. He's gonna be one of those type of guys. It all goes back to his decision making, man. Why did you marry this woman, man? I just don't understand, man. If I was the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to go. You got to go just because you married this woman, not because your play was bad, because your decision making is bad. I know you're not gonna. You already showed questionable decision about some of the acts you did in Washington already. So now I'm gonna give you a second chance, because everybody deserves that. But then you turn around and accept this bullshit and go through it, and then you turn around and marry this woman. No, man. That's a bad decision, and I can't keep investing my time, energy, and money into you.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely something in terms of what he'll do next. I think he just signed a 1-year deal, which was for this season. So who even knows what his future contracts are going to look like? I don't know if he impressed Mike Tomlin enough to fight for the starting spot or even the backup. There's plenty of quarterbacks that are going to be on the move in the offseason, to where Dwayne Haskins isn't knocking anybody's door down in terms of ability. And even away from this, he had a lot of bad publicity. I mean, when a guy like Ron Rivera isn't necessarily having a bunch of positive stuff to say about you, and I know the Gruden brothers aren't necessarily as popular maybe in the media, but Jay and John Gruden, they still got, a lot of cash, I imagine, behind the scenes with people. And I'm sure Jay Gruden may not necessarily have a lot to say about, just his time there either. So I feel like who knows how this will play out for him. It might have been better for him to try to get away from this situation. But again, we really don't know what's happening with it. I don't even think I really heard Dwayne Haskins in an interview to really hear how he conducts himself in terms of hard questioning and whatnot. So who knows if he's even going to be the answer, or if we're even going to see him next season. So, but as far as him staying in it, it looks like just another situation where people get used to the devil that they know. And, you figure, well, that's just the dynamic of our relationship. We have ups and downs, we fight, but then we make up, and she's one of my day ones. So, and plus it wasn't really my tooth on the ground, that's false and all this kind of stuff. There's a bunch of ways that he could spin it. And I mean, if they stay together for the long run, then maybe they know something that we don't. But I mean, yeah, to stay in a relationship like that, especially as a public figure, that can't be good for anybody, for your own brand, for her either. I mean, because now every time we see her or them together, we're gonna be thinking about, her knocking him in the face. So, it's never gonna be a good situation for him.
Hey man, if I see his ass, I'm gonna tell him blink 3 times if you still being abused, and then I'm gonna get him a 1-800 number to get him out of there. That's the only thing I can tell him, man. My man, I don't understand. You never should have walked down the aisle with this woman. I'm not an advocate for divorce, but for a situation like this, I understand if he did it. I understand if he filed the paperwork for divorce. I'm like I said, I'm not an advocate for it. I'm all for fighting for your marriage. I'm all for doing what you got to do to stay in it and get through it. And whatever troubles you get counseling if you need it. I'm all for that. But man, once you take it to this extreme, because this is an extreme, when you put hands on to the point where you're able to go to court, file paperwork, and they on your side where they got this lawsuit going. No, nobody needs to be in that situation. Not no man or woman.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that the NFL or the Steelers have any obligation or any, feel like they need to step in and help out in that situation, get them some counseling, like, as you said, if you're the Steelers, you'll cut them. Do you think that maybe they should do the opposite, which is lean more into them and try to help them? Or, and then the NFL at large, I'm sure they got some kind of domestic violence policy, or, they could release a statement or something like that. Do you think they have any kind of obligation at all to see that be righted?
Obligation? No. I don't think the NFL has no obligation to him individually. Man, maybe overall, as far as domestic violence, yeah, I'm sure they got counselors, they got places they probably contract people through to do all of that, and he should take advantage of it. I mean, if I was his teammates, if I was his coaches, if I was management, I would encourage him. Hey, maybe you need to go and seek out some counseling for this, man, because you don't deserve this. Nobody deserves to be abused. Nobody, whether physically or mentally, nobody. So, man, you need to get some help, man. And I encourage you to go do that. You know what I'm saying? But don't sit there and accept this, because you don't have to. Nobody does. Nobody has to accept that. But if you continue to stay in that situation, I don't think it's going to end well, either for her or you, or maybe for both.
The only way the NFL or the team could be liable, or I guess any obligation to Haskins or whatever, is if they picked his wife. They didn't pick his wife. He picked his wife. Now, if they picked his wife and somehow she came out to be a woman beater, then sure, then they would have to be actually liable or help him, or, I guess feel more need. But this dude chose her, and the red flag came before he even married her. So I'm just looking at him like he's a dummy. You know what I mean? And if I was his coach, I would just look at him like he's a dummy. You know what I mean? You got the money, go pay for your own marriage counseling. You picked this chick. So no, they don't have any obligation to this man's whatsoever. This guy's a fool, and yeah, that's about it. He's just a fool, man. I don't understand how you can get beat up and marry a chick, but more power to you.
We final thoughts on the day today, with your teams. I know that a lot of you guys had the Rams, and I know, Sway, you were taking the Bucs for today.
I want to take the Bucs, but like objectively speaking, the Rams should win. But I'm gonna take the Bucs because I can't bet against Tom Brady. You never should, and I never would.
What about the rest of you guys?
Hey, I'm riding with the Bucs. I mean, that's who I'm riding with, because, like you said, it's hard to bet against Tom Brady, and that was my pick for the NFC representative in the Super Bowl. So I'm going with the Bucs.
Yeah, I got the Bucs, man. I'm gonna go Bucs and Chiefs, man. I think we're getting a repeat of the Super Bowl, man.
Nico, what you think?
I'm gonna ride with the away teams today. Yesterday proved home field advantage don't mean nothing. So, I'm gonna go with the same thing today. I think for the first time ever, the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl is gonna be in the same stadium. And I think the Bills, I think they can give I think they're the only team that can give the Bengals problems, their defense. Because I think if the Chiefs were to beat the Bengals, were to beat the Bills today, they'll be able to beat the Chiefs next week.
Did you just say the Bills is the only team that can give the Bengals problem?
Their defense, yes. The Chiefs, come on, man. The Chiefs had one good defensive game last week, but the Chiefs don't play defense. Their secondary is probably next to the Steelers, one of the worst in the playoffs.
So out of all four of these teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Bucs, you're saying the Bills
defensively
are the best team to beat the Bengals.
Can give
all these teams would give the Bengals problems. Who is the Bengals beating? That's my confusion. On
the
this
Bengals
four,
can
out of these
score.
four
That's
right here,
understanding the Bengals can score. Who? Okay, well let me.
Hey, look here.
Who's second? All right, who got the best secondary?
Nico, let me tell you.
Out of those four teams, who has the best secondary in the playoffs?
Nico, let me tell you. Nico, let me tell you this: the Birds beat the Bengals, and we got the worst secondary in the NFL.
But you see how quick they came back on the Bears.
The Rams have a better secondary,
but we won. That's the key. We won,
and the Bengals was back in the game.
But
they
we won.
Beat the Chiefs in Week 17.
I can't believe you said the Bengals.
And they were down, what, 28-7?
Nah, was it Week 17 or was that week?
That was like one of the last 2 games of the season. The Chiefs was up 28-7.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Jamar Chase took the whole roof off the stadium, and they don't even have a damn roof. So come on, bro. The Chiefs ain't get better in these couple weeks.
Okay, so
they can't play defense.
Okay, so what about the Rams and the Bucs?
The Rams, the only person they really have is Jalen Ramsey. That's it.
I like Aaron Donald, though.
Yes.
I like Aaron
I'm
Donald.
talking about secondary, because the thing is, Aaron Donald, you can't cover Jamar Chase. That's what I'm saying. You got to have somebody that can shadow Jamar Chase. Jalen Ramsey, more than likely, is going to be on Jamar Chase. And everybody else is like, look, you got to do your job. Tyler Rapp, that linebacker for the Rams, you're going to have to do your job. You can take away Jamar Chase with Jalen Ramsey. Aaron Donald, yes, they can get pressure. But
if the Bucs can take away all the options from the Chiefs, you're talking about one guy. The Chiefs got like 6 dudes on their team, and people are stopping that. And you're talking about one dude being a problem?
Who has stopped the Chiefs this year?
They 12-5.
No. You can be outscored, but you didn't get stopped. It's a difference.
Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about last year. The Bucs versus the Chiefs.
I agree. Yes.
You can stop Tyreek. You can stop Kelsey. You can stop all the options they want. That you talking about one dude that's on the Bengals with a rookie quarterback.
The Bucs defense played the best defense they ever played in the season.
They won the whole playoff.
Yeah. Because if you look at it now, the Bucs defense ain't been playing too good.
That's all I'm saying.
I promise you that we will be ready. And like I said, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I was just very shocked when you said the Bengals. So
the Bengals, man, I'm telling you, they got the confidence. Mark my words. If it's the Chiefs and the Bengals,
I like Burrows, man. I like Burrows, so
I guarantee it.
I like that team, and I like Joe.
Sound like a bet. Sound like a bet.
I think it's
sound like a bet out there.
You want to bet on this way?
What do you want to bet, man?
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
What is the bet?
If the Chiefs win, they lose next week to the Bengals.
Oh wow, that's like easy money
for me. Of course it is. Of course,
I'm down. What type of money? What you trying to bet?
Oh man, come on!
Because that's it, huh?
There it is. You heard him, Short. He said, bet 100.
You say 100?
Yes, sir.
I bet 100.
It's a bet.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. We got it on record.
I hope the Chiefs don't win, bro. You better hope the Chiefs don't win, because that is easy money.
Y'all better exchange information.
Yeah,
hey, I know where you live. I'm just playing. But nah, that's easy money, man.
We got it on record, baby.
We got it on record. I'm down.
Well, look, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. Again, another episode of Lapeef Sports. Avon D's, Hank, Sway, Nico, I appreciate you coming in today.
Appreciate you.
And again, you guys have a great Sunday. Have a blessed week. Tune in next week for another one. Until then, peace.
All right.
Hey, before we go, man, tell JR, you can watch this. Get them plus size, them big size, grown man size, Lapeef sweatshirts, man. Come on now. I need my 3X, baby.
Hank, you just gotta take 2 smalls and just sew them together, man.
Oh man, that's some baby sizes. I don't need baby size. I need grown man size.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
Peace, my brothers.